said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. My man and yours, Rod Babels.
I appreciate that intro, as always. That's not waste any time introducing the real MVP of this program, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we're pretty sure that this man is grossly underpaid. It is Patrick Davis, y'all. What's going on, Patrick?
Oh, I'm just counting hours at this point, ain't I?
He's got his vacation shirt on.
Does he ever?
I'm ready to go.
He's got his I've not seen him wear a shirt this colorful. I don't think ever. So he's got his vacation gear on. Like got the beach gear on. So
trying to start it early in my brain.
You should. It's Friday,
you should, man.
It's
Friday.
Go ahead. Just mail it in, brother. All right. So you can hit us up via the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Hardball Hards at Hardball Hards in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. And I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. So it's kind of an NBA segment here because a lot of NBA news seems to have dropped randomly today, and usually it's kind of a slow sports season, if you will, but there are a lot of different topics to get to. We'll also give you an update on the U.S. Open. We'll give you a couple of updates on the U.S. Open as the show goes on as well. We'll do that. Okay, let's talk about the big news, though, gentlemen. We knew it was coming down. Shout out to Hard. Hard said it wasn't going to be a late news dump. It's going to be an early news dump, and it was an early one. Going to give everybody time to digest it and process it. The NBA has decided to suspend Grizzlies star guard Ja Morant 25 games without pay for intentionally and prominently displaying a gun on social media in a car with associates. Morant's second time being suspended for brandishing a firearm on social media in 3 months. The suspension also comes with conditions for his inevitable return. The NBA announced while it's a significant suspension, the league did not use a sledgehammer basically to kind of drive home the point. They could have suspended him half a season. Some people thought it could have been even more than that. It also points out, this is from Adam Silver, his quote, Ja Morant's decision to once again wield a firearm on social media is alarming and disconcerting given his similar conduct in March, for which he was already suspended 8 games. The potential for other young people to emulate Ja's conduct is particularly concerning. Under these circumstances, we believe a suspension of 25 games is appropriate and makes clear that engaging in reckless and irresponsible behavior with guns will not be tolerated. For Ja, basketball needs to take a back seat at this time. Prior to his return to play, he will be required to formulate and fulfill a program with the league that directly addresses the circumstances that led him to repeat this destructive behavior. So there you go. There was a statement by Ja Morant via Woj. Quote, I've had time to reflect and realize how much hurt I've caused. I want to apologize to the NBA, the Grizzlies, my teammates, and the city of Memphis, to Adam Silver, Zach Kleiman, Robert Pera, who gave me the opportunity to be a professional athlete and have supported me. I'm sorry for the harm I've done to the kids who look up to me. I'm sorry for failing you, as a role model. I promise I'm going to be better. To all my sponsors, I'm going to be a better representative of our brands. And to all my fans, I'm going to make it up to you, I promise. It goes on, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Was that 25 enough? Too light? Too heavy? What do you guys think?
Well, my initial number was 30, right? I sent you guys that this morning. I said I thought it was going to be 30 just because of the number of things that could go into this. And what I mean by the number of things that could go into this is, number one, you have now cost yourself escalators. That's the thing about it, too. So you've not only failed yourself as a player, because I'm sure the suspension, I don't even know if it's without pay. It should be. I think it is. Pay. Yeah, so with that being said, you've lost money on that end of it. You've also, and again, it's not always about the financial ramifications, but in this day and age where the dollar bill is very important for a lot of things, he is dealing with a lot more than just that dollar bill from the suspension. You're also losing money as an escalator as far as you being able to make postseason awards. You're not going to be on the All-Pro team or the All-NBA team where you're making X amount of dollars, where you can go into a different tax bracket from that. All of your incentives now have been kind of wiped out. You don't have extra layers that you can make money in. So that's that. Then he's also gave out the information about the sponsors. Now your sponsors are looking at you a little bit different. But most importantly for me, and, I'm more about the athlete being able to have that freedom of speech and freedom of being free. But at the end of the day, you still have consequences. Freedom is not free. I don't understand why people say, well, you can have the freedom of speech. Like, there's consequences for your speech too. And your actions create another totally different situation. So for Ja, his financial drop is unbelievable. It is going to be substantial for his future earning potential. Now, can he go out there and rectify some of this? Possibly. But this is strike two for you, Ja. You understand that. You understand now that all of your extracurricular activities come with a price. And as a parent, we talked about this yesterday. As a parent, you kind of get caught up in this. Where's his dad? What is his dad saying? His dad's on the front row. His dad's on the front row having a good time and being recognized every time he goes somewhere as Ja's father. You get caught up in that. I don't care how people want to say, no. In this day and age, there's a lot that goes into this. This is something that will haunt him for a while. And I don't know if he's going to be able to clean it up because in the reality of it, yeah, it might get swept under the rug, but in the NBA circles, you have just lost yourself as the face of the NBA because you are the most electrifying player that is there. We were talking yesterday about what Joker is. He's not the superstar that is going to be the face of the NBA. We were calling him the entire time the Mike Trout. But in baseball, who they recognize? Ronald Acuna for the Atlanta Braves. He's an exciting player. He's one. Shohei Ohtani. He's an exciting player. He may not want the limelight, but he's still an exciting player. So there's going to be a lot of ramifications as we move forward in this entire NBA season.
What do you guys think, Patrick? You think he'll appeal this, or will he go with the 25?
No, I think 25 was probably. Okay. I could believe that there had even been discussions before that they were like, all right, this is something he won't appeal, and that's maybe why it was a little bit smaller than what people thought. I mean, in all reality, I thought it would be more. It doesn't bother me. It does the main things that it needed to do, which was cost him the money because money's going to matter more to him than missing regular season games at the beginning of the season. And at a certain point, you're hurting the team, you're hurting the fans more than you're hurting Ja Morant, giving him a vacation in the season. So I get it. I get that it sucks. But again, we talk about load management so much that people are, that you're upset you're not going to see these games. Well, that means 25 games he will not be at, and he is one of the most exciting players for young guys to watch.
Exactly.
So in a reverse of it, it hurts the NBA, it hurts young fans and everybody else. If you do suspend him for half a season, then that's so many kids that's another year they're not going to be able to see him because he's just not going to be going to like a lot of Eastern Conference teams that he only plays one road game at, and a couple of Western Conference teams. So I get it in that sense. The punishment is really you can't make an All-NBA team. It's going to cost you millions of dollars. That's really the big punishment of it in 25 games. So, but none of it matters. If he doesn't want to learn a lesson, then he won't.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we'll be right here again talking about it.
Yeah, he'll get suspended again, and they'll suspend him for a season next time. So dude, we gave you 2 slap on the wrist.
And the third strike.
And the third strike, we have to punish you. Yeah. Hopefully, though, everyone loves a good redemption story. Hopefully he turns around. He realizes, hey, man, I can spend my time doing some other, community work, and I can put that on Instagram, and I'll get way more likes. And everyone will be like, oh, my God, look at Ja. He's out there feeding kids, and he's out there doing a Thanksgiving turkey drive. And then, isn't this so much
Brown
better?
did, too.
I know, but hey, look, he's allowed to have a gun in his own house. Stop putting on social media.
Exactly.
That's what the argument is.
And I totally agree. If this 100%. Is a question for Ja. Are you a gun enthusiast? Do you like guns, or do you just like the perception of you being a tough guy, or you being street, or you being a gangster when you have a gun? Like, if you're a gun enthusiast, that's great. We live in Texas. There are tons of them. All right, we live amongst people who are really passionate about their guns, and that's fine. But with that passion needs to come responsibility, and the perception of Ja Morant is, because like I said, this is not a legal issue.
Yeah.
He is not right now. There's no justice system, all right, state-wise or federal that's involved in this. This is him violating the NBA's kind of code of conduct and him basically putting the NBA in a bad light because, as Harsh mentioned, he's supposed to be one of the stars. You brought up a really good question, Patrick. I don't know, this is months ago. And it was we were talking about the MVP. So it was basically probably late in the season, in the regular season, we were talking about who's going to win the MVP, Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid. Yeah. And you brought up the point that, man, all the MVPs lately have been they have been foreign players, basically.
Yeah.
European players. They haven't been American-born players.
I think the five of them have been.
Yeah, it just seems like that. And then you look at the stars on the horizon, Nikola Jokic and Luka. Seems like, actually,
Victor Wembanyama's coming into the league now.
Yeah.
It's another guy that people are projecting could get there one day.
Yeah, and that trend's going to continue. And I remember you asked the question, who's going to be the next American-born MVP in the NBA? I think Ja Morant's got to be the top of the list.
He's definitely up there.
He
right?
was.
Exactly. And that's the whole
He ain't
thing.
winning it next year.
Yeah, that's kind of thing. He kind of was, and this is like hurting that argument. I will say this: in addition to him abiding by all the criteria for his suspension and all the stipulations, he needs to make sure he takes care of that. But he needs to change the narrative right now. The narrative about Ja Morant is that Ja Morant is a clown, an immature clown, that he's a child, right? And we don't let children be around firearms unless they're adults around, right?
Yeah.
And he handles it. He handles a firearm like a child. He needs to change that perception. So I don't know who are his publicists and his public relations people. I'm sure he's got a team around him. They need to work really hard over the next year because his basketball play will be fine. Like, he on the court, he's electric and he's fantastic on the court. This is off the court stuff. They need to work hard on changing the narrative, on reinventing his brand. You talked about it. That means a ton of community service, right? Lots of it, as much as you can get out there. But also, if you like firearms, you can flip the narrative of, oh man, I was just over enthusiastic about my love for firearms. We need to see him on a gun range. I've said this before. Like, why is he? There are tons of politicians across this country. They're shooting on their campaign ads using guns, but they're usually shooting at a target. Right? They're not brandishing it, and wilding out and dancing with the gun. No. So I think he needs to change the perception. If he wants to be a responsible gun owner, do that. Hell, you should be with NRA. Some people, I'm not saying get political here, but the NRA is, the number one gun advocacy group in this country, and you need to be a part of that. All right?
Yeah.
These people need to get him in with NRA. He needs to be also seen as a responsible gun owner on some interview, on 60 Minutes, whatever. Malika Andrews, go out to a gun range with him, whatever. Get it done. Because right now, the perception is he is an irresponsible, childish clown.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is it goes into two other actions that are reported that, the report is louder than his response to it. So when you have him start to back up that, hey, he's threatening a kid that was talking trash to him at a basketball game.
Yep.
And he's threatening a security guard. And you're like, man, gangsters, like, why are you picking on people smaller? Like, why are you doing that? You have a posse of 7 people around you. You're all apparently packing heat, and then you're going to fight a 16-year-old.
Please don't call it a posse. Call it something else. Don't just say it, because that's the kind of perception we need to change. The narrative. It is a posse right now. It needs to be something else.
Yeah, no, it needs to be
associates,
a staff.
Yes, thank you. A team, whatever.
Your board of directors.
Yeah, because right now it's a posse, and they wield guns like one too.
But that's what I'm saying. If you have that narrative, and you have to change it to be like, no, look, we're not doing any of that. We're trying to be positive and uplifting towards the future, not this. And it goes into even, hey man, no, we don't care about the West. You can't say that until you win. Like, you just, everything about him points this way of he's a real tough. He's a keyboard warrior,
fake tough guy.
Yeah, and he's a fake tough guy. And you're like, man, you can't do that in a world where that is so hated at this point right now, because there are so many of them as keyboard warriors and everything else, that you're in a world where you're picking a fight that you don't want to be on the side that you're on. And so I hope that he does.
And you're not going to win.
I hope he does.
You're not going to win.
Losing battle.
And that's
exactly.
what it says. I hope he gets the help he needs to change and just go, hey, man, you just need to change your outlook on things. Like, everyone's making fun of you. Everyone. Even the people you think you're making look cool. Do you with 12-year-olds that love guns? That's who your TikTok stars that are 12-year-olds. That's who you're trying to make think you're cool. No, when you realize that everyone in America is making fun of you, then maybe you're not looking real cool doing all the things you think you're acting cool doing, and change that perspective and be like, oh no, you know what, they think I'm cool when I'm doing stuff like Shaq and just making tons and tons of money. He's an idiot doing a Papa John's commercial where you're like, yeah, the dude owns a lot of it. Yeah, that dude's a millionaire, and you go, that's free.
Exactly.
Oh, that dude's paying all his bills? That dude's cool.
Yeah, his definition of cool. That's like, dude,
Yeah.
how old are
Shaq
you?
is walking through Home Depots making rap videos and also shouting out the people that work there. Those are the types of things that you need to invest your time in. I don't know why you feel like you need to live this type of lifestyle when your real name is Clarence. You know, and Clarence got real good parents. You know what I'm saying? So when you sit there and you look at, as a parent, and this is me personally because I have an older child. I have a 30-year-old son that every single day we've had these conversations about consequence. And obviously he's not Ja Morant and had been at this extra level, but he was my superstar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I looked at him as like, when people said good things about him, I was like, that's a reflection of me.
No question.
But I wasn't trying to walk around and be him. It's like some people, Shaq grew up in a house, and since we brought up Shaq, this is the only reason why I'm bringing this up. Shaq grew up in a house with a military father. Or, excuse me, a military stepfather, but Phil is my father. When Phil spoke to him, he understood what the mission was. What's your goals? And he made him a good person. I'm not saying Ja's not a good person, but don't put yourself in these situations where you're constantly being judged. You're already being judged as an athlete.
No doubt.
Now you're increasing the volume, increasing the pressure of being an athlete, and now you are portraying yourself as this thug, and now society is looking at you as that.
This is what I'll say about the thug thing, because I think you're right. I think for him, the definition of cool, from whatever he's got in his head, he believes being cool is being associated with, oh man, I got a gun, that makes me tough. I'm living, remember Tupac called it the thug life.
Yes.
All right. By the way, it was way more deeper than just the thug life label, but that's a different discussion for a different day. I'll say this about because I'm talking about Pac here. Pac.
Happy birthday, Pac, by the way.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Today, he would have been 52 today.
Pac's birthday's today.
Today.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yep.
I did not know that, by the way, and I brought up Pac, so that was just serendipitous. Shout
That's
out.
why I'm here for you.
But Pac never had issues with the police until he himself spoke it into existence as a rapper.
Absolutely.
Before that, he had no issues with the police,
At all.
never been to jail, had never been arrested. And soon as Pac actually started rapping and started living his own version of thug life, because he had started living the actual lyrics that he had spoken to existence.
Yep.
That's when he, started getting the shootouts with cops and went to jail himself and got shot multiple times. It got wild. And for Ja, to me, that would be the warning, right? That's the story that you need to really, take caution and take heed of the lesson that should have been learned from Pac. Like, if you really know about Pac and his story, he didn't have trouble until he became a gangster rapper and started speaking the thug life into existence.
Yeah.
And he actually started
he was
living
in
it.
Juilliard.
He
You
started
know what
living
I'm
it.
saying? That
Yeah.
mother was going to theater school.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and by the way, it took him out.
And what
It
ended up
ended up taking him out because guys were always trying to prove they were tougher than him. Real gangsters.
I was finna say.
He got into it. He started hanging out with real gangsters. Suge Knight was a real gangster.
Yep.
All right. Death Row was built on real gangsters. He started hanging out. And by the way, the smart one, Dr. Dre, was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. I'm hanging out with too many gangs. These guys are real gangs. So we actually, left and did his own thing. Snoop was smart enough to go, all right, I can't mess with these gangsters here. I'm gonna go hang out with the gangsters in New Orleans because they're a little bit more gangster than the gangsters on the West Coast.
Exactly.
Nobody, even the West Coast gangsters, won't go to New Orleans and try to mess with them gangsters.
Exactly.
All right, and it got way too serious. We all
got
know
real
that.
deep.
It got
real
way
deep.
too deep. Rap shit. I don't give a damn about rap beef. It should never get to the point where it's life threatening. And so I'm not saying that Ja is caught up in that, but you can kind of speak these things into existence a little bit, and it's a spooky way, an eerie way and I'm not trying to foreshadow anything, but y'all's got to be careful about this kind of stuff, especially at the level that he's on. And I think Pac even said, I was shocked that so many people followed me and so many people listened to me. I did not realize the power I had. Ja doesn't realize the power he has. No way.
And he's 23 years old. I was dumb at 23 too.
Oh,
We all were.
We all were dumb at 23.
So dumb.
But you go when you say all this stuff and when you get these
But we're
messages.
in a different day and time at 23.
We
though.
are, but I'm saying he has a choice now of he can go and go, hey, man, I need to start moving towards this direction because the sooner I get out of this stuff, the less damage I've done. And really, by the time I'm 26, this will be somewhat forgotten.
Yep.
If I go the right way starting today. But if I keep going down this till I'm 25, things will get real bad because he hasn't done anything too terrible yet.
He has not. He
And
hasn't
it's
done
like, you're like,
anything.
man,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
but everyone can see the signs. And as you just said, you're like, we're watching the same story that we've already seen multiple times.
Yes, sir.
And we don't want the ending that they had for you. So we're trying to cut it off before it even gets started. And that's what this suspension is supposed to be. That's why some people want it to be longer. I get why it's not.
The second suspension, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it is.
But you have to hope that somebody gets around him. And this happens to a lot of young athletes. You want somebody to get around him that he will finally get to listen to him a little bit and just go, hey, man, I just got to change the direction of my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then all this at 23, they'll be, yeah, you were a dumb kid. You be sitting around joking about it when you're 35, 40 years old, you're retired. You'll be joking about, hey, man, wasn't I an idiot? And everyone go, yeah, you were an idiot. And that's it.
Yep.
But it could go really wrong really quick if you keep going down the wrong road.
I'll leave it at this right
Amen,
here.
brother.
And like I said,
Like that.
I mean, I've been an idiot most of my life with a lot of situations that I've been in, but I've also been a very cautious idiot because one thing that's most important to me is life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's putting himself in a situation to where you are putting a lot of things out there on yourself that a lot of people don't understand. And if you run across the wrong person at the wrong time, you are putting yourself in a life and death situation. And I was just watching, I told you guys yesterday about the Rich and Shameless situation. I watched a story just the other night about a former Memphis Grizzly player who was all that. His name was Lorenzen Wright.
Oh, yes, I remember this. I
Got
saw it on
killed.
Dateline.
Yep.
I saw it on
Exactly.
Dateline, actually.
So be
Yeah.
careful with the situations that you speak yourself into because of the fact you are the mark now.
Yes, you got a target on you, man.
You are the mark.
You got a target.
Because a real one is going to try you to see where your heart's at just because. Because there's a lot of people out there that don't care that you play for the Memphis
No,
Grizzlies.
they don't.
don't care that you're worth X amount of dollars. You are now the person that if you really want to live that life, we're going to try to make you live that life.
Because they live that life.
'Cause that's
and they deem it
every day.
disrespectful that you fake.
Exactly.
You're faking that life.
Exactly.
No, I live that life. Which, by the way, I want no part of. I grew up with guys who lived that life,
Thank
and I
you.
realized I was like, no, I got no heart for that. I can't do it.
This is not what I'm made for.
Yeah, any possibility of me going to jail, nope, I'm done. That's
Call me what
it's-
you want to, but call me away from you.
I'm scared straight.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's what
scared straight.
That's exactly what
Yes.
Johnny. Remember that show?
Yeah,
Scared
oh my
Straight?
gosh,
They bring them
yes.
young knuckleheads in there.
Yeah,
At risk
and they
youth.
try to act like they hard
Some
until they
OGs.
have to spend the night in there a couple
Some
nights.
dude who killed in there for double murder. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, you think you wouldn't
Grab
be
my
here?
pocket.
Yeah.
Grab my pocket.
Yeah,
And them
you
dudes,
staying with me all day.
you'll be in my cell.
Yeah,
tonight. It's like, man,
exactly.
like that's.
I
hey,
want
man,
none of that, bro.
I guess John didn't grow up watching that. I did. And I was
we
like-
all did.
And I was scared. And my thing about it is also because and you, I'm sure, experienced this too, Harge. And hell, everybody has. Patrick, you have too. It's not just athletes. Athletes deal with it, I think, on a more extreme level. But when you start to mature and grow, sometimes you outgrow some of your friendships. It's tough and it's hard because sometimes they want to stay stagnant. They want to stay where they are. They want to stay in childish things, and that's fine because everybody's rate of development and growth is different. Hell, I got married at 40, right? So
Yeah.
everybody's a little bit different in when they're ready to grow up and make those type of tough decisions. But no matter who is in your life and when you outgrow those different relationships, you got to make sure that people in your life actually care about your well-being and what's best for you. And I don't know all of Ja's people. But multiple incidents would tell me, I don't know if he's got enough guys around him or gals around him, whatever, that are willing to give him the real and tell him exactly and tell him what he needs to hear. And not what he wants to hear. Tell him what he needs to hear. Not be a sycophant just because you know that he's the one
That's your
fitting the
meal
bill.
train. Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's paying all the bills, and as long as he's happy, everybody's happy. To keep it real with him, even if you risk your friendship.
Hey.
And you rather risk the relationship to say, no, I gotta keep real. I see where he's going. I see this thing derailing, and I want to make sure that my friend's taken care of. I always bring up the Allen Iverson story. It's a great story about Allen Iverson going broke. He's got a team around him. He's got an entourage, whatever you want to call it. All right, he's got a group around him, and not everybody in the group is looking out for Allen Iverson, and he's spending money. I'm talking about money. One of the best, it's not the best. It's the craziest stories about AI and his spending habits. Every city he went to, he'd buy a different outfit, and he'd leave the outfit there. He never packed. He would just buy clothes where he went to different cities. That is insane.
That is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's a good position to be in.
It's a ballerific thing.
Yeah.
It's like what rappers rap about, but
Right.
you don't actually do it. And like
Yeah.
even Jay-Z is packing a bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a billionaire.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
So AI was wilding, man. I can't even think what he's doing at the strip club if he's living that kind of life. So he's wilding. That's just one of his spending habits that was terrible.
Yeah.
So his friends notice this, and a couple of them get together. He's got a big entourage, but a couple of them really looking out for AI. They get together. And
That's why when people make fun of LeBron, I always laugh at him. I'm like, bro,
solid circle.
he made
Solid
sure that he
They
made
are.
sure that they
Yeah.
went to school to get degrees so they
Solid
can make
circle.
sure that we are grown-ups.
Yep.
We're a business,
Great
man.
point. Even got a show on Amazon about his boys that he played with in high school to take care of them, so they
To
don't
take care
spill none
of
of the
them.
secrets and none of the skeletons in the closet. Like, hey,
Come
I'll
on,
take care of
man.
y'all. Y'all in the circle too. Y'all not in the inner circle, but
Right.
you on the periphery. I got you. You can still text your boy. You still got my number, right? Yeah, I got you. So I'm with you. LeBron is great at that, by the way.
Yes.
But this is what happened to AI. So AI is obviously he's going downhill quickly, and they realize this is going to be broke as a joke and on the street and homeless. All right,
Yeah.
when he's done playing. So a person with a firm grip on his situation, they informed basically, this is from the New York Post back in the day, that they have an account worth $32 million. A principle that AI is prohibited from touching until he's 55. I think he might be 55 now, whatever. This is back in the day. In the meantime, it gives him $1 million annually from that fund. Basically, and he's eligible to, kind of get it from his pension, I think, too, in the NBA. So they basically made sure he didn't go broke because they saw his spending habits and they started siphoning money from him. I would say stealing, but they was doing it for him. They say he wouldn't notice it because he was spending so irresponsibly anyway. He wouldn't notice the money missing, and he didn't. They took $32 million from him, and he didn't even know. They told him after he was done, and then he was like, "Man, you know what, guys? I got to file bankruptcy. I got some money." Probably were like, "Yeah, we figured this was gonna happen." Hey, listen, man, we took $32 million from, we put it in the account. You, by the way, cannot touch it until you're 55, but it will give you $1 million annually, and at least until you die. I believe that should keep you taken care of.
Well, just
And
remember
that's having real friends around you. They risk their friendship with AI because they saw it going. Now, don't be stealing money from your friends and doing that.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Right.
doing it
No.
the right way, but make sure you're looking out for your friends. And I don't think all of his circle are looking out for the best interests of Ja. So that's another thing too, man. He's got to figure out who in your circle is about Ja.
Right.
By the way, Allen Iverson just turned 48. Still.
Right.
They're still taking care of
They're
him.
still taking care of him, exactly.
And before we go to
Come
break,
on.
I'm gonna leave you with this. Our great friend Sean Adams, who blessed the airways for such a long time, wrote multiple books, is a very motivational speaker. He used to always say, if you can't change your friends, change your friends.
Amen.
And that is
Come on
the
now.
realest statement that can possibly be out there. If they're not following and helping you get better,
Yep.
they ain't your friend.
They ain't your friends. Hey, by the way, they can be associates. It doesn't mean you need to stop ever talking to them, but you know what a friend is,
Yep.
and a friend affects your life.
No
they
doubt.
do,
No
for
doubt.
the good or for the bad, because you spend a lot of time with them, you count on them, you trust them. So yeah, man. And by the way, the story says that that AI fund that was started by his friends when they took money from, they call it the Reebok Fund.
There it is.
Because the money came from his shoe deals.
Yep.
So basically, they would just take the money from his shoe deals because he never noticed it.
Because he
anyway.
never noticed it.
He never- but he was spending it
because he
anyway.
was thinking about all his other stuff.
Man, he was
He
spending.
got money everywhere else.
He was burning through cash.
Let it go.
He was burning through it, and his friends noticed, and they were like, "All right, you know what, man? We got you."
Yep.
You need friends like that, and also, you know what? You got to grow up. Listen, nobody wants to really grow up. Everybody hates adulting.
Oh man.
I hate it too.
Man.
All right? Like I said,
It's Father's Day weekend. I got children, and I'm adulting this weekend.
Exactly.
They trying to tell me where I'm going for dinner.
It's your day.
I'm
and
like,
you're still
do I
adulting.
get to pick?
And once you start adulting, you never stop.
Yeah, you can't.
Like it's a
No.
way of life, and it's always going to be there. But I'll leave you with this. I don't quote the Bible very often on the show, but this quote I do think is apropos. It's not a quote; it's a scripture. That's how you know I don't read the Bible a lot. A quote. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
That's right.
It's time, y'all. It's time.
Amen.
You know exactly.
Amen.
It's time. We all enjoyed it being a kid.
Man.
It was fun.
I still act ignorant from time to time, but I also understand I can't. It's a hot flash. You know what I'm saying? It's like real quick, and then you got to wait a minute. Don't lose your mind.
Exactly.
By losing your mind.
You are still a grown man.
I'm
You're
a
an
grown
adult.
man.
I'm a grown man.
And over 50, not 48 like my man AI.
I think AI was a little older than that, actually.
He act like it.
He does now.
Yep.
AI's a lot more. You know what? Somebody texted too. He should talk to AI. He should talk to AI.
Yep.
AI went through AI's dark passenger.
Yep.
I always the way I always call it, our demons. Everybody's got their demons. His dark passenger almost got the best of him.
Yep.
But he found a way to overcome. And Ja's dark passenger right now is getting the best of him. You can't
That's
let that
because
happen.
Tawana told you that. Did Tawana tell you that? Remember when his mom was like,
Yeah.
what? Did Tawana tell you that?
That was great.
That's
that
how
was
it breaks
awesome.
down.
That was awesome,
That's
man.
when he knew he had to get it
We
down.
might have to bring that back for some
Yep.
reason. That was AI's mama, too. I remember that drop. All right. Chan, scripture versus quote. Yeah,
There it
I know.
is.
I mean, I guess it's kind of, no. It's disrespectful to call it a quote. It's
No
a
doubt.
scripture.
There it is.
But what's the difference?
Hey, it's a scripture that was quoted.
Got a quote from this number one time bestseller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's what a scripture is. For the greatest selling book of all time.
No doubt.
All right, we come back. We'll get into Astros and Rangers and Mitchell Daly. We'll talk some hardball with hardball right here on Ball Don't Lie. I want to put on the horn.
You just heard it right there. It's that time. We are right here. We're up against it this Saturday at Q2 Stadium. You could come out and party with the PR7s at the Eastern Conference kickoff. That's right. It's all about rugby. We had our man Amir Lancaster on talking about the game, and you need to be a part of it. You can catch professional rugby at its best. You can see the team. There's headliners, locals, and the men's and women's Team Texas battle for a spot in the championship. You got Black Joe Lewis performing tomorrow as well. Get out there and don't miss the Ultimate Fan Fest, where you can enjoy fun, games, drinks, music, and so much more. And it's all happening tomorrow at Q2 Stadium, Saturday, June 17th. You can get your tickets today at prtheword7s.com. That's prtheword7s.com. Go out and learn some rugby. Make sure you get out there. pr7s.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick, the Idillionaire, he plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Steady Legend, and they are playing tonight at Meanwhile Brewing.
Meanwhile Brewing. I like that name. Nice. And I'm sure it's like Meanwhile. Like Meanwhile?
Meanwhile.
Like, okay, yeah.
In the meanwhile.
Just want to make sure that I got the pun there. All right, Specs text line wide open, 512-337-3776. Thank you guys for all the texts about the Ja Morant stuff, man. You guys have some great takes. Couldn't read them all, but really some cool stuff, so appreciate all you guys' efforts on the Specs text line. One text says, amen. Say it again. The Holy Spirit working today on the show. Yeah, every night we go to church.
I mean,
go to church on the show.
We try to bring it as real as we possibly can every single time, no matter the topic. But when it comes to this type of stuff, and as I'm trying to raise kids that are watching this every single day.
Your kids are sports fans. So, like you got Ja Morant fans in your
exactly.
Your house.
Yeah, my son was talking the other day. He was like, I need to get some new shoes, and he was looking at the Ja Morants, and I'm like, yeah, we can get them. That's fine, but I mean, you ain't carrying no pistols, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Staying focused, but I mean, it's a lot of young African-American kids that are watching this that always are up against it anyway. So don't put yourself in this situation and keep it moving, man. Let's stay focused on the task at hand.
Ja Morant's Ja 1 Hunger sneaker did sell out when it was made available. It sold out in 20 minutes, according to the Wall Street Journal. So much like, the rap game, you can go to jail and get shot at, actually increases your street cred, and then you can sell more albums. It looks like it's helping him with the shoes, but they're helping him with his brand. His shoes actually are selling pretty well, so the kids love them, but that's also a part of why this is so alarming. It's like, hey, man, those are kids buying your shoes.
Exactly.
Very few adults are buying your shoes. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know any adults who own
not buying
shoes.
no Ja.
Yeah, and they sold out in 20 minutes because those were kids buying it. So kids are looking up to you. Think about it, Ja.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Yep.
All right, let's get to some baseball discussion. Let's start with the Mitchell Daly thing. Can we get to that? Mitchell Daly in the transfer portal. Are you surprised by this news?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And the reason why I'm not surprised by this is because we talked about it earlier, and I did it at the end of the season. I talked about Mitchell Daly and who he is and what he's been about. This is a guy that almost lost his starting position earlier this year. And he actually got it back, continued to play well, continued to stay focused. But at the end of the day, when this is the game now, everybody's in the transfer portal if you look at baseball. This always continues to happen. Yeah.
It's every sport.
It's every single sport. It's like you have a couple good seasons, then all of a sudden.
Softball now even. It's every sport now, man.
A girl wins the national championship, and then she's like, I'm good. I'll see you later. I'm going back home.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going back home.
It's everywhere, man.
There's opportunities more and more every single day. It just sucks for Texas fans because this is a guy that we got a chance to watch grow up in front of us. He came here as a freshman. He was a dope baseball player coming out of Alabama. His dad's a general. This is somebody that has.
His dad's a general?
Oh, yeah.
Why did I not know that?
Oh, yeah. Wow. So this dude understands what it's all about. And for him to be in the transfer portal, probably looking for a fresh start. You got a younger player in Jalen Flores who is very highly touted. And don't forget, and I mentioned this early, I said, because everybody was talking about his defense. And I said, hey, don't forget, he had been playing, Mitchell Daly, had been playing second base since he's been at the University of Texas. And then you flip him over to the shortstop position, and you expect him to be Trey Faltini.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to be Trey Faltini. I mean, it was just the situation that he was dealt. He went out there, didn't hurt us, didn't kill us, didn't do anything to hurt the growth of this baseball team. But you know as well as I do, in this day and age, if you have an opportunity to move around, that's exactly what you're going to do. You've been here for 3 years. You probably exhausted all of your time here, your tolerance of certain conversations that you were tired of listening to.
That's fair.
Now it's time to move around and go get a fresh start. I'm okay with that. I hate that we're losing him because he's one of those guys that I've been fond of over the last couple years. But you start looking at it. We're also using Minchie one of the pitchers, he's in the transfer portal. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Chris Stewart, another left-handed pitcher who had just transferred from San Jack, was here. And now he's in the transfer portal. It's something you're going to see attrition throughout, whether you win it all or you lose it all. Mm-hmm. There's players from LSU that have already entered the transfer portal. They're in the College World Series.
It's crazy.
So this is expected at this day and time.
You're right about that. I guess it's natural. Like I said, for every sport too. Like I said, I was noticing in softball they were talking about the high transfer rate. I was like, it's every sport now. The free market has officially hit college sports. So that's Texas baseball news. Can we get to the Rangers here a little bit? Texas Rangers lost to the Angels last night, 5-3.
Yeah.
And actually, Nathan Eovaldi was great.
He was.
He really was. He allowed, I think, just 3 runs in 7 innings. Had 5 hits, 9 strikeouts. Though had 2 walks, and he was great. There was a lot of drama in this matchup.
Was there ever?
We have the audio from the Rangers game. So I believe this is like the 7th inning when this all goes down.
Yeah.
3 different Rangers ended up getting thrown out of the game. Here's the audio and the play-by-play of it.
My goodness, this has been a wild break. Bruce Bochy just ejected, but he's not the first. In fact, he's not the second this inning. He's the 3rd Ranger to be ejected in this break by Ramon De Jesus. Here's the first.
Yeah, he's talking. You see Marcus there and saying, listen, that is ball 4, and frustrated by the call there by Ramon De Jesus. And he gave him a little bit of a leash there at one point, and then you see Mike Maddox coming out to defend.
Mike didn't last very long.
And he got thrown out pretty quickly, and then Bruce Bochy, of course, backing everybody up. And there's a limit for all of these guys and for these umpires. And Ramon De Jesus now has ejected 3 Rangers, and for Bruce Bochy, that's the 34th ejection of his career.
So some carnage in this 7th inning as we go to the 8th.
I'm sorry. That is his 79th ejection. Second one here with the Rangers.
Interesting. Simeon really never lost his cool, so to say. I saw after the ejection, reading his lips, I think he said, "I'm trying to have a conversation with you." So the reality is Ramon De Jesus was not interested in any more conversation, and so he's taking care of business, and that means the Rangers now are without Marcus Simeon. It means Duran is coming to play second base.
All right, 3 in a row. Or do we think whose side you taking here? Did the overreact here? The
1,000% overreact. Because to be honest with you, I was watching it at this time. I watched the entire thing. Marcus Simeon was called out on a check swing, which he did not go past the home plate for it to be called a check swing strikeout. Runners were in scoring position. They ended up not being able to drive in a run in that situation. And when he went out to the field, everybody was already mad because it's a pressure situation. You're going up against Shohei Ohtani. He's on the mound. I mean, he's not pitching at that time, but he's in it. But he started the game. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that's going into it. It's an intense matchup, and he didn't feel like he went. And then when he went out there, I don't know if you know much about Marcus Simeon, but Marcus Simeon is not a guy that cusses a lot. He
seemed pretty calm.
He's in charge of the player rep.
Yeah,
he
was calm.
Rep.
No, he was calm.
Yes.
I don't know what he said. Now, he might have said something, but he was calm.
Yes, no doubt about it. He was very, very calm and went about it, and they started talking, and he's like, man, that's ball 4. And if you go back and watch the video, you can read his lips. He was like, that's a check swing. That's ball 4. He kept saying it was ball 4. And a lot of times the umpires don't want you arguing balls and strikes, but this was a check swing situation. Like, ask for help. Like, you made the call right away, and it wasn't even that serious. You made the judgment, so he's out. Well, then when he goes out to talk to him, that's when everybody starts to get fired up because he tossed him first. And then when he tossed him, Mike Maddox comes flying out of the dugout And he tosses him before all he said was hi. Hi.
I don't want to hit.
Yeah, I don't want to
ain't
hear
trying
it.
to hit. Get out my
And then,
face.
of course, Bruce Bochy is going to be the guy to go out there and try to defend both of his teammate and his pitching coach, and now they're gone. It was a utterly bad situation for everybody. Nobody should have been thrown out, to be quite honest with you, but I think he had heard enough because he had already calmed down the dugout prior to everybody coming out after the third out.
Speaking of Shohei, he pitched his 6 innings. I say just, but he allowed only 2 runs and hit a 2-run home run, a 443-foot home run.
Game winner.
Into the second deck,
Yeah.
that basically gave them the win. And right now, I mean, remember last year, he became the first player to finish top 15 in both home runs hit and strikeouts in the season.
Yep.
Since the mound was moved, I think, in like 1893. He's currently top 3 in Major League Baseball in both of those categories right now. Tied for first in home runs and third in strikeouts.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive to watch.
Man.
And you just said it. You know, you start talking about the stats and start looking at everyone, and he ranks first in so many categories on the pitching side. And then he ranks first in every category on the LA Angels. Every category, pitching and hitting, he's number 1.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I said,
It's like our conversation yesterday.
No comparison for the man.
It was our conversation yesterday about what can't he do?
Oh, he can do it everything. And
He steals bases.
He's about to get all the money.
Yes.
All right, we come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful down the horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. By now, everyone knows that my favorite tequila is Hot Cat Tequila. And now this Friday, over the weekend, I guarantee you that I'll be getting the party started with some Hot Cat Tequila. The best way to pregame for all the big games, concerts, festivals, or any night on the town with family and friends. You know what the CAT stands for? It stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila. And the recipe is just as simple and just as delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. It's every tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, well, Hot Cat Tequila will turn you into a fan of tequila. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to like tequila to love Hot Cat Tequila. I had some neighbors over actually last week and gave them a little taste of Hot Cat Tequila. Turns out they weren't tequila fans, but they're Hot Cat fans. That's how good it is. And once you try Hot Cat, you'll never, ever go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you were ordering rounds of and you were just trying to get the party started. So turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. It's best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks. So visit Cat Tequila, that's cattequila.com, to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's when Patrick, the Ideationaire, takes jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is White Label Analog, and they are playing tonight at Hotel Vegas.
There you go. And if you miss any of the suggestions by Patrick, go check out hornfm.com. You can sound cool in front of all your friends. You also sound cool and you'll sound knowledgeable if you go to flxatx.com, flxatx on all of your social media platforms. Up at the website, they do have the flex from Wednesday night, that Wednesday night flex. You can go check that out. Actually, go check out all the Wednesday night flex replays over at flxatx.com. FLX ATX on all your social media platforms. You can keep up with a lot of the updates there as well. And I think my man Hart just got some baseball news on the flex front.
That's right. There's a lot of news that is going on. I will break down all the other baseball news, but we're going to start with 6A. The 6A All-State team, Texas All-State team, has been led by Travis Okoye. It's the elite team. He is the pitcher that everybody's been talking about. He's a UT commit, and he's also going to be one of the guys that is entering the draft this year. Tanner Jackson, who's also a pitcher from Round Rock. We got Braden Buchanan as a catcher from Vandergrift. We also have Nathan Duval. He's on the all-elite team. He's the third baseman from Westlake. We also have the first team that was named just recently. There's Hudson Ellis, the shortstop from Round Rock, who also has been making some great plays on the position. Lake Travis Cole Johnson made the the third team. I know that there was on the second team. We had Ed Small, the outfielder. And he's only a sophomore, by the way. Theo Ginn from Westlake, he also made the second team all-district. All-state. Jack Brady made it. And the shortstop from Lake Travis, Dylan Schlotterbeck. He also made that elite 6A All-State team. So they go elite team, they go first team, they go second team, and they go third team. So shout out to all those guys. And next week I will break down the 5A and the 4A as well.
Congrats to all the guys that made All-State. That's big time. I remember trying to make All-State. That's big time. You were probably All-State, weren't you?
Yeah.
Of course you were. Yeah. Yep, see?
All-American, too.
All-American, too.
Yeah, but we definitely all-state. And I had a buddy of mine who I got a chance to watch his kid play. He plays for Amarillo High, and his son made all-state, and he posted it. I actually sent it to him. I was like, congratulations to Cannon. And he goes, man, thanks for letting me know that. And I was like father, like son, man. He made All-State too. Now his son just made All-State, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, congrats to all the guys who end up making All-State, man. Like I said, that's really big time. It's always a goal of any athlete here in the great state of Texas. All right, we come back. We'll get into some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. C.J. Stroud is drawing some interesting comparisons. I hope this is a good thing. We'll discuss that. We'll also talk about Pro Football Focus. They got a lot of rankings out, and we love rankings this time of year for the wide receiver units, running back units, and offensive line units. We'll talk about where the Cowboys and the Texans stand and who is on the coaching hot seat. This list says Big Mac is on that list. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to our good friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape Austin since 1935. That's a really long time, and you may not even know it, but you see the labors of their love all over our great city in iconic, exquisite landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build the offices. So, folks, if you're looking for an exciting new career, maybe you want to become, a valued member of a prestigious organization, and you're a little bit frustrated with your work choices and your career path, you can become a member, a valued one of Ironworkers Local 482, and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape our city's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become one of these lucky folks and become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's when my man Patrick takes jams from very talented human beings right here in the ATX, who you have a chance to see live and in person. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Riders Against the Storm, and they are playing tonight at Antone's.
Oh, Riders Against the Storm. Like that. It's a nice name. All right. You guys can always hit us up on the Specs text line. Best place for you to keep in touch with the show, 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. You want to reach the real MVP. And I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. We will get back to the Ja Morant suspension. Lots of NBA stories out there. We'll get back to MJ, the GOAT, Michael Jordan selling his team. We'll get to that. Nuggets trash talk. It's a lot of NBA stuff that we'll dive into. We'll do that at the top of the 5 o'clock. In the meantime, Harge, what you got coming up for the people on Hard Knock Life?
I'm going to talk a little bit about Father's Day and what it means to me, but most importantly, how dads rank during the Father's Day celebrations and the history of it.
Really? You're going to do a historical ranking of dads?
It's not gonna. Well, I think I'm gonna let some other people do it for us.
Okay.
And I'm gonna help you comment on that.
Okay.
But I'm also gonna talk a little bit of football because there's a little bit of news that is out there that I want to talk about that I'm really concerned about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Football, NFL or college?
College.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is it Longhorn related?
No.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. All right,
I'm good with our group.
All
I'm
right,
good
we
with our group.
All right, there
now.
you go. All right, Hard Knock Live coming up next. You want to stay tuned for that. A couple of NFL topics here, gentlemen, and I want to try to hit at least 3 of these, and I don't think they'll take too much time. But you sent this, Harge. It's from the NFL Rookie Watch. C.J. Stroud. And right now the Texans are going through their mini camp, so there have been a lot of reports coming out about C.J. Stroud and his leadership. And him right now getting a lot of the first-team reps. Remember, they're still rotating first-team reps, he and Davis Mills, and they're going to compete for the job. And DeMeco Ryans has already said he's got to go win the job, essentially take it from Davis Mills, which if he can't do that, then what the hell did we pick him number 2 overall for?
Right.
But CJ, the report here says, or the tweet says, C.J. Stroud's leadership has reportedly stood out through Texans OTAs and minicamp. Texans wide receiver Noah Brown.
New one.
Reportedly sees comparisons between C.J. Stroud and Dak Prescott, his former quarterback. At today's minicamp practice, Stroud reportedly led 2-minute drive, going 6 of 8 with TD, so they're giving minicamp updates. But I thought that was interesting, too, that Noah Brown, who basically all he knows is Dak Prescott.
Yep.
And he's saying C.J. Stroud, some of his leadership tendencies maybe, and maybe him as a player too, but maybe, and he didn't really say whether that's about the leadership of Dak or whether it's about his physical skill set, but that he does see a lot of comparisons to Dak Prescott and C.J. Stroud. Good or bad thing, gentlemen?
I think it's a good thing because a lot of times it's about the leadership. And we were talking about it before. Sometimes in the locker room, you need a good, calming voice as opposed to somebody that, you can sit out there and say he's the best at this or he's the best at that. But if you don't have leadership, you don't have an opportunity to win ball games. And here's one of the things, too. It said at today's minicamp, Stroud reportedly led a 2-minute drive where he was going 6 of 8 with a touchdown to top it off. But here's the part that really drove me into a good situation. It said Dak is by far the best leader I've ever played with. Dak's huddle presence is something that can't be taught. That says a lot if this is all true. And that came from Cole Beasley. Because Cole Beasley read the report and heard the report as well. And these are 2 guys that have played different places. Noah Brown only at the Cowboys.
But Cole Beasley's been around.
But Cole Beasley's bounced around. He's played with different quarterbacks. He played with Tony Romo, and he played with Josh Allen, and, of course, Dak Prescott. And that's one thing that has never been denied, Dak's leadership. Everybody always talks about. He's a great guy to be around. He's a quarterback that all the linemen want to hang out. He takes care of them. The running backs, the wide receivers, even the defensive players. Micah Parsons has been seen multiple times out with Dak Prescott. So with that being said, as far as the leadership part of it, that's exactly what you need in that quarterback room.
I would say Cole Beasley was also with the Bucs for a little while,
he was.
A sniff with
he
them.
was. It was real quick. It was real
quick.
brief. Yes.
I think he was active maybe a game or 2.
Yes.
And that was last
And that's when he decided
year.
he retired. That's when he went back to being retired.
And
he only did it briefly.
And that was with Tom Brady.
Yes.
I will say that I think, I don't think he includes Tom Brady in this assessment or this comparison.
And he went back to the Buffalo Bills after he left Tom Brady.
I don't think he includes Tom Brady in that because he really didn't have that much interaction with Tom Brady. Like, he wasn't considered one of the featured wide receivers. He was active for like 1 or 2 games or something like that.
Yep.
So I will say, just in case people getting too excited that, oh man, he considers Dak a better leader than Tom Brady. Well, first of all, Tom Brady, I'm not saying he had checked out last season, but we all saw that the issues Tom Brady was dealing with as a grown man. Remember, he even said, man, I'm 40, man. I got a lot of ish going on. I got a lot of ish going on in my life, man. Going through a divorce. I think, and remember, he was taking off days of practice. Like, it's Tom freaking Brady. Taking off days of practice to go to weddings and stuff like that. Had understandings that he wasn't going to practice every day of the week. Tom Brady was already half retired by the time Cole Beasley got there. So, just in case we're getting too crazy about that comparison. But I think Dak's one of his X-Man abilities, and it may be his X-Man ability. Obviously, a quarterback needs to have an X-Man ability that sets them apart from every other quarterback. What do they do as well, if not better than other quarterbacks? Dak's leadership is something, in my opinion, that is considered an elite quality by him. All quarterbacks are not great leaders.
At all.
It is not natural for all quarterbacks. I don't think it's natural for Quinn Ewers. Right. I think he's working on. I think he's more of a quiet guy. He wants to be more unassuming. But
they said it about Hudson Card for a long time too.
It's a natural leadership position, so you're going to be forced, all right, to become a vocal leader. And I don't think that's not natural for everyone.
Right.
And I think for Dak, it is natural. And sometimes that has to do with your upbringing. Like Sam Ellinger was natural. Sometimes that's like tragedy early on in your life that forces you to mature earlier and grow up. It's unfortunate, but that's part of why Sam was a great leader.
Agreed.
He
had to grow up and be a grown man early.
He was adulting way before you need to be adulting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Any kid needs to be an adult.
Yep. And Dak had some tragedy in his life, too, a little early on. So I'm not saying it's always tied to that, but he was forced to mature. He was forced to grow up right now. Yep. And I think that's a part of it, too. So.
And I think with this new kind of look at what the offense is supposed to be, trying to be more of a game manager instead of Kellen Moore trying to light it up, it will benefit a guy who can lead the team into, okay, this is all we need to do, as opposed to, as we talked about yesterday, how many 3rd and 10s there were and 3rd and longs where you're like, man, you can't keep putting a guy who's supposed to be managing it and go, hey, man, we just need to get 5 yards here. We need to get 4 yards here. We need to get this. And then you're like, no, let's go for it all. Let's go for it all. And you're like, man.
It's a great point.
So I think
with no separation.
Yeah, so I think that'll help out more, too, and a guy that you can pick you up when you do need to have that one last drive or something like that. That's where I think his ability will come out a little bit more, as opposed to trying to stick him in a role that he was never built to do, which is what Kellen Moore's offense kind of transitioned to in the later years of the Kellen Moore offense, was, hey, we're going to try and take deep shots, which should work better with Justin Herbert because that's more of his X-Man ability.
It is. He's got the big arm. And he's got big receivers for 50-50 balls.
He does.
So it makes more sense there. I never liked it in the situation of putting a guy who really should be more of a game manager into a let's make you a star quarterback guy. And that's why the numbers somewhat were anomaly last year, is he was just really trying to throw the ball a ton.
Fourth round pick too, by the way, guys.
Yes.
And so that X-Man ability as a leader is one thing. First rounders, you got you're like a five-tool player in baseball or a 5-star recruit in football. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, sometimes you got to make other things part of your DNA as opposed to some of the things that are the natural things that people look at, the athletic wow factor that you have.
Yeah, Dak's got some of that. I mean, it's not. I don't know if he's got the strongest arm or if he's the most mobile. I don't know if has an elite trait physically. That's what I. Yeah. That's what I was like saying. I think his X-Man ability. It's more about intangibles. It's more about the immeasurables. By the way, that's like half the damn job at quarterback.
Thank you.
That's like literally half the job. I mean,
Jamarcus Russell had a cannon.
And got none of the other stuff that you need.
None of the other stuff that you need.
None of it. No immeasurables, no intangibles. He's basically, unfortunately, that was transparent. What you got, that was it.
That's what you got.
That was all of him, yeah.
That's what you got.
What you saw was what you got from Jamarcus Russell. Yep. There was no depth of character to him as a player.
Correct.
I think for Dak, Dak does have some depth to him. I think we have, or at least we in this room, I don't know about everybody listening, but we have such a high opinion of Dak. I know some people are Dak haters, and that's fine, by the way. Yep. We might be proven wrong about Dak too.
Yep.
But we all assume he's going to bounce back from last season. Like it is a foregone conclusion to us. It's to us, we all assume that there's no doubt he will bounce back and have a better season than he did last year. Some people believe last year that's the beginning of the end for Dak. Now Dak will truly show himself and be exposed.
Right.
But we shall see. I think Dak will bounce back and Dak will be fine. But yeah, that's definitely part. I think what his comparison is. I don't think it's an athletic thing. He's comparing C.J. Stroud to Dak. I think the comparison for C.J. Stroud to Dak is intangibles and immeasurables. He didn't say that specifically, but I believe that's what he's talking about. Because Dak, to me, doesn't really have an elite skill within his skill set or trait within his skill set. C.J. Stroud does. That's why C.J. Stroud was drafted number 2 overall.
And I think if we count in that he was drafted number 2 overall, but there was talk before it. And so if you're a wide receiver and you hear all the talk before the draft about all these problems about C.J. Stroud and everything, and that there was reports that he wasn't a leader, and there was reports that he was, wasn't
failed the test, the cognition test.
Cognition. So
Well,
all
not
of
failed it,
those,
but low score.
yeah. So all of those things, I think you maybe as a wide receiver walk in and go, all right, let's see what we're walking into. This guy's been spoon-fed everything at Ohio State. Ain't nothing. We'll see what. And then you walk in and you go, oh, no, this dude's a real deal. and so I think it may be more of that where he was like, no, dude, I know what the story was before the draft, and none of that's true. This dude's a real deal.
That's the point. Expectations were so low. It's like me watching that new remake of White Men Can't Jump. I came in and told you guys it did not suck. It was not terrible.
No, you didn't. You came in and said, I didn't turn it off. It was worse than it didn't suck.
I said
I didn't turn it off.
I expected to turn it off or fast forward my way through most of it. And I didn't. I watched it all with Jack Harlow of all people. I thought I was on Jack Harlow's, and I'm definitely going to fast forward. I watched Jack Harlow deliver some decent one-liners in White Men Can't Jump. So I'm not suggesting anybody go watch it. I'm just saying it did not suck. And maybe that's what Noah Brown's saying to Patrick's point, like, hey, this guy doesn't suck.
Yeah, I think, too. It's like, yeah, if you just sign with a team and then you're told all up into it, because you're Noah Brown. You're not necessarily in the war room if you're Noah Brown.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Then all you see is, oh, C.J. Stroud shouldn't be a first-round pick. And then you see your team just drafted him, and that's the guy who's going to be throwing to you for hopefully a while in your career. You're going to make a report.
And all you know
else.
is Dak.
And all you know is Dak. And all you know is the reports that this guy's super overrated and can't do anything right and maybe an idiot. And then you meet him and you start practicing with him and you're like, oh, man, you may want to make a point out to go, hey, I believe the hype. It's not true.
That's true. They made C.J. Stroud out to be a mimbo, like a male bimbo.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. He was told by Ryan Day where to throw the ball every damn time, and then he failed the cognition test, couldn't recognize it. He's like, man. But we agreed. I don't know who's his agent. Who we figured out? Was it David Mulligetta? Who's his agent? Was it Mulligetta?
Yeah.
And we never figured out what Mulligetta, the best agent in the NFL, the Johnny Cochran of NFL agents, was just letting his client get dogged. And I don't know. It had to be a method to it.
Yeah, I was trying to say it played the right way.
He's way too smart. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
So he knew what
I don't know
he
if
was
the Texans guaranteed they draft him.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
And maybe it was like the farthest you go is 12th because they will draft you with one of those 2 picks no matter what.
Maybe he just knew he was going number 2. He was like, it's all BS. This is all conjecture.
And I don't necessarily want to go to Carolina for whatever reason. I may not like that offense as much.
It was silly season. He probably just knew, like, he's not dropping past 2.
Yeah. Nothing I'm going to say. It's, there's the things, like if you ever get called a racist as a white man, there's nothing you can say to respond to it. There's just nothing you can say. Because anything you say comes out wrong. He may have been like, look, anything I say at this point is going to come out terrible. And it's just going to make me sound dumber, and they're just going to eat all that up. I think that may have been it, too.
It goes back to Rob's accidental rest.
You can say, I'm married to a black woman. How about, would that work?
I know,
married to a black woman?
Said, go, I have a black friend. You're like, 1? You counted them? You know the number.
If you're married to a black woman or married to a black man, I do think that would be a response. Like, I'm married to a black woman. I have black kids. Like, that is a hell of a. You gotta have black kids.
You can't just pop it up and say, "Man, I seen your kids."
My father's gay.
Yeah.
you also have to not say it in a way of like, no.
No, you're right. That's a good point. You don't have a lot of response. That's why, to me, I always said this about for white people. There isn't a slur for white people. I think calling a white person a racist is the slur.
It is.
That's the slur. Like, white people. I was joking.
They're
actually
offended by that.
They are. I was joking with Chris Sims like our freshman year and called him that jokingly. He didn't talk to me for like 3 weeks. I swear, I was joking. It was a joke. He's like, you can't use that
Hey,
word,
don't
man.
play with me like that,
He said
man.
you can't use that term. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's y'all.
Hey,
The N word for white people.
Don't play with me like that, bro. Don't
Yeah.
play with me.
He did. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like wouldn't talk to me. Like when I was like, dude, bro, what's going on? When you go in, he's like, man, can't be using that term, man, with me, man. Take it personal. And I
Yeah.
will say, to Patrick's point, I agree. I think that it's especially now. Hell, back then it wasn't even that big a deal. Nowadays,
now
they get you
it's real.
canceled in
Yeah.
5 year job.
quickly.
I just know that it's like I've seen people be called it, and and you just get called it, and then you're like everything in your brain that I say is going to come out and make the situation worse.
Smart move by you. That's
Master-
called maturity.
Master Gardner says the response, some of my best blacks are friends.
Exactly.
See?
Just
you're
gonna
right.
let my track record speak for itself, and we'll be good other than
Yeah,
that.
and we'll be moving
I agree with
on.
you, man. I don't think it's really not. That's why you shouldn't just toss that term around. You can't be just tossing it around loosely.
No.
You call him a bigot. But because bigot is basically close to being racist.
Yeah, that to me, that seems a little bit harsher.
But it's not.
But that's what I'm saying.
racist
To me, that
automatically-
seems like it.
The racist, somebody calls you racist, the assumption is they use the N-word. Something. You know what I mean? They use a racial slur of some kind. You say you're a bigot. Bigot basically means you're a sexist. It means that, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you got a lot of things
you're
going on.
xenophobe. You can be another. You're just a bigot.
I'll
You're just
tell you,
closed-minded.
This is the insult to use on anybody that there's no comeback to, which is what my buddy got called in a hotel room one night. We're on the
no.
road with the band.
Don't get canceled.
A woman
Hey,
came in the
wait.
room.
Do you need to tell us off air
Yeah,
first?
right, you wanna dump
No,
that
no,
already?
no. A woman came in the room and was mad because we were being too loud. We're not. Like you just own some stuff. And then she ends up going, "Hey, can I buy a beer from y'all?" And we're like, "You want a beer, but we're keeping your kids like this ain't true." And she goes, "You know what? You illiterate." My buddy goes, "I can read," and she goes, "No, you illiterate in the brain." The best insult I've ever heard. No comeback for it.
What does that even mean?
What it
Doesn't, but it's
no
just
one
great.
knows what it
No one
means.
knows.
Right. I can read like you're literally in the brain. It's like, okay. We know how to take that. All right, there you go. The quick lesson on how to take an insult and reciprocate if need be. All right. I want to get to this story about Mike McCarthy on Hot Seat. We'll table that. We can even table the rankings too for next segment. What you got coming up for the people in Hard Knock Life?
We're going to talk a little bit of baseball, some football, but of course, we're going to bring up Father's Day because Father's Day means so many different things for so many other people. And I do want to give this little quick nugget. Oral Roberts just beat TCU in Game 1 of the College World Series, 6-5. Tulsa, party.
And was that a comeback? Top
It
of the ninth?
was a comeback.
Top of the ninth comeback for Oral Roberts.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What does the Oral Roberts merchandise look like?
You really don't want to know.
Like you already have this Texas shirts. Do they have any shirts that just say the first thing?
Yeah,
Say,
yeah.
"Oh, are you?"
Yeah, I just says.
"Oh, are you?"
Just throwing it out there. All right, we'll come back. We got Orange Knock Life on Ball Don't Lie. What a putting on the horn.
Welcome back to a 512 edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis with his colorful shirt because he will be on vacation next week. And I'm so happy for him. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. We had a really good time at the very beginning of the show talking some real-life situations with Ja Morant and what we feel is the next step for him. He was suspended for 25 games, which makes him ineligible for almost every single award that could possibly be out there. It also stops some escalators that he could have in contract negotiations because if you're missing – 25 games, you're not going to be able to be eligible for the awards because there's a certain number of appearances you have to make to be eligible for it. So it's very unfortunate. We'll get back into that conversation. But I also want to bring up this conversation about another situation about a gentleman that we have been having a lot of conversations about. We've been talking about it for quite some time now. Deion Sanders has made his way out to Colorado.
Yep.
I got my Prime shirt. I got my Prime sweatshirt for Deion Sanders already. But one of the things that Deion has gone on with, and we've seen this happen multiple times. When he was at Jackson State, we saw him sitting in a stroller. We've seen him sitting in a motorized wheelchair. There's so many things that Deion is going through. For those that don't know, Deion has already had 2 toes amputated because of some health issues. Remember back in the day, Deion also had like turf toe for a long time, and he was always talking about that turf toe. We even talked to our man Chipper Jones, and he was remembering a couple times where Deion had this turf toe. Well, now it has been reported that Deion may have to have his left foot
That sucks, man.
amputated. Rod, you're a big Deion Sanders guy. You even wore the number 21 after Deion Sanders. He is one of the greatest athletes that we've ever seen grace a football field, a baseball field, and just athletics, period.
Exactly.
And now this is a guy that may end up having to have his foot amputated. It is a very, very sad situation, but Deion's not going to let that stop him. He's going to continue to keep pushing. So all prayers go out to Deion. They said ordinarily you have 3 arteries that are putting blood to your foot. After the procedures you've had before, it's down to 1. And that is what they told Deion, and that's why he's always had some issues. You see him limping around. You see him wearing special orthotics in his shoes, and he actually was wearing one of those little cushions that he could walk around where his foot was being exposed. And I don't know if y'all remember this, and you could go back to Club Shay Shay.
Shay Shay. Club
Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp did an interview with Deion, and Deion took he was going to get a massage on his foot to try to help with the circulation.
Yeah.
And Shannon saw it.
I remember that. I remember that.
And he was like, oh, Lord, what is that? Oh, my God, what is going on?
Yeah.
So
it was ugly, man.
It was a very ugly situation. Yeah. But hopefully Deion will be able to get everything resolved and be able to move it forward. I want to give a shout-out to my dad and my stepfather.
Shout out.
Father's Day weekend is something that's, as a man, only thing we looking for is the big piece of chicken most of the time. That's all we getting. I'm a father of 3. I love my kids dearly. They make me smile. They make me laugh. They make me mad. They have done, and I do the same to them. And there's no doubt about it. And I've always been told, and my man Sean Adams and I used to have a bunch of conversations all the time about our kids because there's no handbook for being a father. There's no handbook for being a parent. You just have to go by what you know and what you feel and try to make the best decisions. But we all know as we were growing up, we thought we knew everything and we would be able to make it through. But there's always lessons to be learned. But at the end of the day, as a father, we always have to deal with different things. And Mother's Day, we're always taking them out. We're doing different things, buying them all kinds of stuff. But when Father's Day comes, we're just kind of there, right? And so my man Ali Sadiq, who ironically enough, I've seen him as a comedian, but I ran into him one day at Kalahari. He was just randomly there with his family, hanging out. And I walked past him and I was like, hey, man, ain't you Ali Sadiq? And he was like, yeah. I was like, keep up the good work, bro. But he had a skit that he talked about Father's Day. And this is a lot of how we feel as a father.
Father's Day is the worst holiday in the world. I've done the research. I already know. Let me tell you something. Mother's Day is the second most celebrated holiday in the world. Christmas is first. So that means it's Jesus, then your mama. You know what Father's Day fall at? Number 20. I can't think of 18 other holidays. Do you realize Halloween is number 6? So that means ghosts and goblins go before fathers? Arbor Day is number 13. I don't even know what that is. I just know it come before me. That's crazy.
I mean, think about that. Think about that.
It's true,
It
man.
ranks number 20.
Mm-hmm.
We got Halloween that's in front of us, that the ghosts and the goblins rank higher than fathers. Like I said, all we
true.
want is the big piece of chicken. But here's another comedian. What is his name, Patrick?
Nate
what?
Bargatze.
Nate Bargatze. I heard this the other day, and I played it this morning, and I just kept thinking about this. And I talked to a couple of my buddies today who are fathers as well, and we are all in agreement with this little situation. And maybe that's why Father's Day falls so low on the totem pole.
Our daughter is in 3rd grade, and for 1st grade, she started taking the bus. And it was the first time she ever took the bus. So if you know as a parent, you walk them to the bus stop. It's very fun. And so we got her on the bus. She went to school. At the end of the school day, someone from the school called my cell phone. They have my wife's cell phone. They have my cell phone. They called my cell phone, and she said, hey, do you know what bus number your daughter's supposed to be on? And I said, I'm her dad. As in, are you crazy? Like, I was like, this is how you thought you would get this information, was to call the dad? You saw a mom and dad's cell phone. You go, I bet the dad knows. I was like, do you have parents? Have you ever seen a family before? You thought, let's call the husband? Unless there's 2 husbands, you should never call a husband a day in your life. I would rather you ask a lady that doesn't know her. I think she could get to the bottom of it quicker than I can. I had to go get her. I go, all right, I'll come get her. Tell me the name of this school and I'll come get her. Where does she go?
And as a father, we have all been in those situations. I love the fact, too, that, you know, we can all make fun of ourselves. We are easily picked on by the kids. I'm going to go ask mom. I'm going to tell mom. Mom is this. Mom is that. But we love the fact that we have these kids and we're going to be a part of their lives forever. And I know for myself, for all my friends that I know are fathers, good fathers that are all being around, like Chris Rock said, you do the things that you're supposed to do because that's what you're supposed to do. And I love being a dad to Michael, to DJ, and to Jasmine, and it makes my life complete. So I hope that all the dads that are out there continue to be involved in your kids' life. I know that they're going to be mad at you, but our job, and this goes back to our man Sean Adams, we don't give them off-ramps, and our jobs are not to be their friends. It is to make sure that we protect them from all the evils that are out there as best as we possibly can, and we lead them in the right direction. So to all the dads out there, I salute you. But one thing I need y'all to do, make sure you know your kids' bus, and make sure you are part of the solution, man. And let's try to get that number up to where we're not at number 20. We could be at least in the top 5.
It'll never go up. You want to know why? No. This is actually not about the lack of appreciation for fathers. It's about the personality of men.
Yep.
Men don't celebrate. You can hear this. How many guys out there hang around with other guys and you've hung out with them on their birthday and not known it? Because they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Because
funny
guys like,
that
I
you
don't
said
give a
that.
damn, man. Because it doesn't matter that much to men. It's like a woman, you won't know her birthday
For the whole
4
month.
weeks before her birthday.
the
Everybody
whole
knows.
month.
Yes, whole damn month, it's her birthday.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll be I did a show with Kevin Dunn one time. And then I think somebody texted him like, "Oh man, happy birthday," or texted me.
Yeah.
That, tell Katie it's happy birthday. I was like, "Katie, it's your birthday." He's like, "Yeah, it's my birthday." I was like, "Dude, you gotta tell me it's your B-day. We're like in the 5 o'clock hour."
Yeah.
And just found us. That's how guys are. So guys, it to me, I think it spills over into Father's Day and holidays. Guys just don't want that kind of smoke. Like
It's funny that
we
you
ain't
say
trying to
that.
celebrate it like that. Give me what I want on my day. Functional, pragmatic. Give me some brew. Let me watch a game. Let me grill. I'm good.
I talked to a buddy
Mm-hmm.
of mine yesterday. We talked 4 times throughout the day. And by the end of the day, I texted him and I was like, "Bro, I completely forgot to tell you happy birthday." And he was like, "Man, at this age, I don't even care if people tell me it's my
Exactly.
birthday."
Don't
So
care.
it goes to your point.
But a woman
It
would be
goes to your
offended. A
point.
woman is
Yeah.
offended if you don't give her happy birthday. A guy's like, "I don't give a damn, bro. It's all good."
Yeah.
I've had friends where I'm like, "Bro, I'm sorry, man. Your last week your birthday." He's like, "Bro, I don't care."
Yeah.
All right. It's like I remember hanging out with a friend of mine. I went to his birth. I went to his baby shower. It was a shower for his brand new baby girl. And we hung out there for like an hour and a half. I go home to my wife and she's like, "What's the name of the baby?" I was like, "I have no idea."
I have zero idea.
We didn't talk about that damn baby one time. I didn't know what the damn baby name is. I have no idea. We talked about the Longhorns, we talked about the
Yep.
Cowboys. We kicked it, talked about what beers we like. We didn't talk about the baby at all. Didn't know the baby name.
we've all had that of, it's like, "Hey man, how is he doing with his wife?" And you're like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
We were watching a game. You get the game was on. It was very important.
We talked about the game a lot.
Was one of your teams playing? No, it was not. All right, listen. It was a soccer game, and I don't look. We didn't know who was playing, but
Yeah.
it was important.
It was important. And men don't like awkward exchanges of any kind. Talking to kids about sex, breaking up with women, whatever it is, going to the doctor. Awkward exchange. Men are not about that life. And that's another awkward exchange, right? Because men
Yep.
are emotionally stunted. Our emotional IQ is very low. And that's part of their emotional IQ is to appreciate the love and compassion of others around you
Yep.
and appreciate you. Men don't want to do that. Men are
Yeah.
like, "Nah, I don't want to do that." So that's why it'll always be 20. It ain't because of women. It's because of the men.
Yeah.
It's our fault.
Yeah, it is.
It's our fault.
It is. It is so funny too because you sit there and you start thinking about it and you're like, "Man, how come nobody said anything yet?" And that's because they don't even really care.
They don't.
Because neither do the men.
The men don't
So,
care enough.
Hey,
You
The
care more-
the only men that care is Cordell and Cordell because they're always looking out for the father.
Well said.
I will tell you the other flip too is you don't want to get anything as a present from anybody that you're like, "Man, I don't buy you presents for anything." And then I get a present, and now I have to get you something of equal or more value to make this work. And now
Ding, ding,
that
ding,
is
ding, ding.
There it
So you
is.
gave me a present. Like, and if you get a Father's Day gift that you're like, "This was like $400. First of all, we have a joint checking account, so I spent $400 on this thing I didn't want. And 2, now that means I gotta get you like an $800 present.
Yes, that's a great
Exactly.
point. You gave me a bird, not a present. I got to remember to get you something. Get you something really good.
And this is the part right here. He said, "We also have the hottest time of the year. Don't nobody care. Everybody trying to stay in the AC."
That is
but
true.
You know what else happens? You end up you cooking for yourself that day anyway.
Yeah, you grilling for the family.
Yeah.
It's like, you grilling for us. I'm good. But actually, guys, see, I now get my dad way more than I used to. It's like, why does my dad spend so much time in the garage and in the backyard? Now as a married man, I do
Solitude.
kind of get it. Yeah.
Solitude.
Like, I need to get out of this backyard, this grill. Kids don't want to be out there. Mom don't
Exactly.
want to be out there. No, be out there and I'm grilling. I'm going to the backyard.
What's
Kicking
this?
it.
It's 110 degrees out. I'm gonna go stand by this fire. No one will come near me.
And I'm going to sip this ice cold Bud Light, and it's going to be like heaven. Because I ain't got no kids, and wifey's not giving me a to-do list.
Right?
Oh, man. There
I
you
love
go.
it. I love it.
And you love every minute of it.
No doubt.
Because
No
it
doubt.
means that you are loved and appreciated. And that's what Father's Day is about.
That's
So,
all about it,
yeah,
man.
man. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. It really
Appreciate
is.
it. Appreciate
it. It is great. Looking forward to it one day myself. Okay. Are you done? Are you
I'm good.
You
I'm
sure?
good. I'm good.
That was great, by the way.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I'm
We're
good.
getting a lot of compliments on the Specs text line. That was right on the money.
It was perfect
Friday
timing, yeah.
segment, perfect Father's Day weekend segment. That was money. All right.
That's where it's at, man.
Well done there, brother.
I found those comedians and I was like, how ironic
And what
is it this weekend?
The brother that was on the first one, what
Ali
does he
Sadiq.
play in? I don't.
He's from H-Town. He's born and raised.
Where,
he's
where
a
would I
stand-up
know him
comic.
from?
He's a stand-up
Where would
comic.
I know him from?
He
he's
was
had
in
a-
a couple
'Cause
shows.
I recognize
yeah.
his voice a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
he's had a couple specials.
so you know, like TV shows or anything like that?
no,
Okay.
he's had comedy specials on TV
Okay.
and stuff.
All right. I like him. I'll check him out.
Yeah, you will definitely enjoy him. His name is Ali Sadiq. He comes to Cap City Comedy Club a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was a comedian. I know he did some time and
Yep.
has jokes about that as well.
And he goes
All right.
and does comedy in prisons
prisons.
a lot of time too.
Good for him.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, good stuff there, man. I honestly love when people play stand-up bits on radio and connect them to
every
pop
day.
culture,
Yeah.
sports stories, whatever. Because I'm a stand-up fan. I think stand-up is the toughest thing to do in entertainment,
Correct.
in my opinion. I don't think there's anything tougher in entertainment than other than, I don't know, Cirque du Soleil or something like that. That's crazy. But I'm talking about just more of traditional entertainment, getting up on a stage and making people laugh when they expect you to make them laugh.
Yep.
They paid money for it.
Yep.
That's got to be tough. So I admire all those guys. All right, we'll get to the break here. We'll get to Off the Record on the other side. I want to get to this AI story because Paul McCartney.
Allen Iverson? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, they're probably using AI to recreate AI these days. But Paul McCartney of the Beatles claims that he is going to, or I think it's already in the works. They're going to come out with a basically new Beatles song, and they're going to use AI
Wow.
to help recreate
Wow.
the other Beatles.
That
in the
would
song.
that would be interesting.
Oh no, we got Paul McCartney talking about it coming up next. We'll get to that and Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful None. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Austin is a beautiful city. We all love it. We all call it home. And one of the beautiful things about it is the aesthetic appeal. And one of the reasons that the aesthetic appeal is so unique is because of the skilled craftsmanship of ironworkers, local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build the office. They've been helping shape Austin since 1935. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends at Ironworkers, local Union 482. You may not even know it, but you're probably driving by one of their iconic landmarks right now. You see the labors of the love everywhere, all across this city. DKR Stadium is one of those landmarks, the Pennybacker Bridge as well. And right now, our good friends over at the Ironworkers Local 482, they're hiring right now. They're hiring 3,000 people for a really big project right here in Central Texas, in your backyard, and you can be a part of it. You can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. You can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for a little off of the record here. And this story, man, I forgot exactly where I found it initially, but we have audio from it. And it is about Paul McCartney announcing, and I believe he did it on this podcast, that there's going to be a new Beatles song. I think he's saying the Beatles' final song. And he's going to be released later this year in 2023. The reason it's interesting, not only because it's the Beatles, but also Paul McCartney is admitting they're going to be using artificial intelligence to recreate the voices of the iconic Beatles band for this last track. Here is Paul McCartney. He was on a podcast. I believe it's called The Consequence of Sound. But here's Paul McCartney.
What do you think about efforts that are being made through technology, through artificial intelligence to recreate the early Beatles, making your voice sound younger, bringing those voices back, well, from the grave, really?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a very interesting thing, you know. It's something we're all sort of tackling at the moment, you know, and trying to deal with what's it mean, you know. Yeah, as people will I don't hear that much because I'm not on the internet that much. But people will say to me, "Oh yeah, there's a track where, you know, John's singing one of my songs," and it isn't. It's just AI, you know. So all of that is kind of scary, but exciting because it's the future. And we were able to use that kind of thing when Peter Jackson did the film Get Back, where it was us making the Let It Be album. And he was able to extricate John's voice from a ropey little bit of cassette where it had John's voice and a piano. He could separate them with AI. They tell the machine, that's a voice, this is a guitar, lose the guitar. And he did that. So it has great uses. So when we came to make what will be the last Beatles record, it was a demo that John had that we worked on, and we've just finished it up. It'll be released this year. We were able to take John's voice and get it pure through this AI, so that then we could mix the record as you would normally do. You know, so it gives you some sort of leeway. So there's a good side to it, and then a scary side, and we'll just have to see where that leads.
All right. So that's fascinating, by the way. That basically they're going to make the last Beatles record, last Beatles song, using it with AI recreated John Lennon, which is fascinating.
Yeah, and it's basically too. They're like, we have John Lennon, but it's like bad quality. And you can't remix anything because, like, so if his voice is really low in something and the guitar's too much, normally you can't change that. But what they're able to do with AI is basically pull just his voice, pull the guitar, and then you can go in and remaster it and take all the instruments as their own tracks and fix the volume on everything, clean everything up by its own track, which is, when you hear a lot of mashups and stuff, that's kind of similar stuff of how mashups are done. Of basically, you're like, I want these 6 instruments from this song, and there's vocals and 7, 8, and you just take a regular track, and then a computer can go in and pull those tracks apart. Yeah.
I can't wait till we get the new Tupac album. Then, like what's holding it up?
He's going to be the one.
Huh?
He's going to record it himself. Because you know he's still alive. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
Like to believe. But yeah, I mean, they already got what did they have? The hologram Tupac?
Yeah.
So hologram Tupac with the AI generated voice. I mean, let's do it. That's what they have done with a lot of the celebrities who have voiced over like iconic characters in movies. Take James Earl Jones with with Darth Vader.
Yep.
They basically said they can use, long after James Earl Jones passed away, they can do Darth Vader for the next 100 years because they basically have the AI generated technology to recreate James Earl Jones's voice, saying anything they want him to say. Yeah. He's gotta give them permission. The license, I'm sure he's already had. They gave him some ungodly
sure
sum
that
of
probably
money.
went through that. Yeah.
But what's holding up the latest Tupac record? I mean, at this point, you got. I know he got tons of unreleased Tupac songs. I mean, reportedly, he's got like a vault full of unreleased Tupac stuff. Let's put the AI on it, remaster it, get it out there.
It's funny because
Give it to Dre, by the way. Give it to Dre.
XM just created a new Tupac channel.
XM did?
I've been listening to it for the last 3 days. I don't remember half of these songs.
Really?
There's that many songs that is on there.
Yeah.
His catalog
it's
is
expansive.
off the chain.
It is expansive. And like I said, reportedly, there's a vault of Tupac material that's unreleased. I actually randomly went on vacation with a lady that worked for the estate of Tupac.
Okay.
And told me about like all of their efforts to.
Were y'all on vacation just randomly, or you ran into her and she go with y'all?
She is a friend of my wife's like circle.
Okay.
Like her social circle from college.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, I work for Tupac. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about, crazy white girl? What do you mean you work for Tupac? Tupac is dead. And she's like, no, I work for
the
Tupac.
hologram.
No, she did. She broke it down for me, and I was fascinated. I mean, my wife was like, you are in her grill a little too much. You need to back
because
up.
I need to know these answers.
Yeah, I was like,
Is he meeting us on this trip?
I was all about it.
Is he meeting us on this vacation?
I became one of her. She probably thought I was creepy stalker stuff. I became one of her closest friends on the trip. I was hanging out with. I was trying to get all this information, and she was great though. She gave me a lot of info. She was like, "Hey, if you're coming out to LA and coming out to California, hit us up." And I was like, "Don't be telling me that now."
Yep.
Because Robbie will be there with my Tupac stuff on.
Yes.
Representing. No, she was fantastic.
You gonna pierce your nose? You know?
No, but I mean, the AI stuff.
I'm in.
Yeah, the AI stuff is fascinating, though. It really is. All right, there you go. We'll get to some more NBA discussion here, gentlemen. We'll talk about the Ja Morant suspension, MJ selling the team. The Nuggets continue to trash talk this one specific team. They got it out for this guy. Well, a lot of y'all do. We'll also get to Wembanyama. There's an update that he is not going to play in the summer leagues. We'll find out what our resident Spurs fan Patrick has to say about that. Right here on Ball Don't Lie. Want to hear on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's when the Idealionaire, Patrick Davis, plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Tomar and the FC's. Tomar, friend of the show.
I like that.
He's a listener
That's
for
right.
us.
That's right.
And it was his birthday this week as well, so happy birthday, Tomar.
Happy birthday.
Whoa, happy B-Day, man.
Playing
Celebrating
Saturday at Continental Club.
Like that.
Go celebrate with him.
Celebrating the B-Day week with Tupac. It's nice.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's
There you
right.
go. Great music minds. We appreciate that. Appreciate Patrick too on the 512 Friday. You can be a part of the show. Specs Text Line is the best way to do it. 512-337-3776. I will get you a U.S. Open update coming up in Raj Rant of the Day. And also, I'll tell you what, in my opinion, is the most interesting thing about the U.S. Open. I'll also do that. Yeah, you're talking some golf and Raj around the day. I can diversify.
I like it, and I hope
right?
it's where I think you're
We
going.
can diversify a little bit.
And I think I know where you're going.
Think I'm
I
going
can't
with-
wait.
You know where I'm going with that?
I think I do.
All right, well, we'll do
I hope
that.
I do.
Wait. And if I don't talk about what you're talking about, you bring it up.
I got you.
Make sure we all cover all our bases
We
around
got
here.
you.
All right, gentlemen, speaking of covering bases, let's get to the Ja Morant suspension, and then we'll get to some other NBA topics that I think are pretty interesting that I want to get to. So we do know now that Ja Morant suspension is official. It is a 25-game suspension for Ja Morant. That came down today. The report from, or at least I should say the statement from Adam Silver and from the NBA. Here's Adam Silver. Ja Morant's decision to once again wield a firearm on social media is alarming and disconcerting, given his similar conduct in March, for which he has already been suspended 8 games. The potential for other young people to emulate Ja's conduct is particularly concerning. Under these circumstances, we believe a suspension of 25 games is appropriate and makes clear that engaging in reckless and irresponsible behavior with guns will not be tolerated. For Ja, basketball needs to take a back seat at this time prior to his return to play. He will be required to formulate and fulfill a program with the league that directly addresses the circumstances that led him to repeat his destructive behavior. The Ja Morant statement from Adrian Wojnarowski in response, quote, I've had time to reflect, and I realize how much hurt I've caused. I want to apologize to the NBA, the Grizzlies, my teammates, and the city of Memphis, to Adam Silver, Zach Kleiman, and Robert Pera, who gave me the opportunity to be a professional athlete and have supported me. I'm sorry for the harm I've done to the kids who look up to me. I'm sorry for failing you as a role model. I promise I'm going to be better. To all my sponsors, I'm going to be a better representative of our brands. And to all my fans, I'm going to make it up to you. I promise. That is the end of the... Oh, that's not the end of the statement. There's some more stuff, too, but that's the gist of it, I should say, of Ja Morant's statement. All right, gentlemen, 25 games for Ja Morant. I'm not going to get into what... Basically, that's 30% of the season.
It
You know what
is.
I mean? It's 30%
It
of the
is.
season.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's tripling his last... You know what I mean? You basically kind of tripled his last suspension, which was 8 games. So now you're at 25 games. I know triple is 24, but you get around there. So I do think if we get another issue here of any kind, I think, you know, going back to the first suspension and now with the second, just keeping with that trajectory and keeping on track there, I do believe he might be suspended for an entire season. I think you might get an entire season because you got triple the amount. Well, if you get triple again, it's going to be 70-some games.
Well, and here's the other part of it. It's more of strike 3.
That's what I'm saying. The strike 3,
Yeah,
you're out there.
yeah,
That's
you
what
would
I'm saying.
be
And I
out.
think the out is going to be you
No
out for an entire
foul
season.
balls,
Yep.
no extra pitches,
Nope.
none of
An
that, bro.
entire
You
season
put yourself
without
in a
pay.
bad situation. And again, it's more about the responsibility. And you brought this up earlier, Rod. It's like if you were doing this at a gun range or you were doing all these other things, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It's the fact that you're looking careless about it. You brought it into a club. Now, those charges were dropped. Okay. Well, then you go and meet with the commissioner, and I really understand what I went through, and I'm so sorry about it, and it won't happen again. Well, not much later, it happens again, and now you're putting your team and yourself in a situation that you may not be ready for. You may not be ready if someone really comes a calling on you because they know you have put yourself as a target. You're a mark, and they're going to test you because not only are you throwing up guns, you're throwing up gang signs that you probably don't even know what the gangs are.
And I forgot about the gang signs.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah,
them.
there's more, and it's deeper
Yeah.
than just riding around. And I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again. If you can't change your friends, change your friends. If people are in your camp are letting you look this way, and as my man used to say, don't let your slip be showing. Somebody needs to tell me when my slip is showing. If I'm out somewhere and you and I are together and you're like, Hart, chill out, man. You're putting us in a bad situation.
That would be me, though, caring about your well-being and
Right.
caring about having some Hart.
Right.
Like thinking about, no, Hart just got a wife. Hart just got kids.
Yes.
Hart, people know Hart as being a good guy who's got a good heart and everything. And even if you obviously unintentionally going to do something, I would say, no, it reminds us of Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett.
Exactly.
Right? They were
When
watching,
they were watching the show.
They were live
And he
streaming.
didn't know.
Live streaming the finals. And yeah, exactly. Paul Pierce did not realize. And how many times did Kevin Garnett hit him and say to him, bro, we're live.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we
Yeah.
live. You lit, but we live.
Right.
We live. He kept telling him, bro,
Right.
we live. Because
You my
don't-
partner.
Yes.
But you lie.
If y'all are real friends,
Yeah.
you're not going to leave your partner out there like that
Right.
exposed.
Right.
You're going to let them know, man, I got your back. I'm
Your
looking out
slip
for
is
you.
showing.
And I wonder how many of Ja Morant's friends, and like I said, there are times you outgrow friendships.
Yep.
And just because
Hanger-ons.
you can't hang out with them every day, like buddy BFFs, doesn't mean you can't associate with them and text them and call them every night and go have, a drink or something like that. But obviously, some of these guys around him, not saying all of them, are not looking out for his best
Correct.
interest. And it may be time for Ja to consider the associates, right, that he's hanging out with, the crew that he's hanging out with. I brought the Allen Iverson story, which is a great story. Allen Iverson, spending habits, so ridiculously irresponsible. He was on his way to going broke, buying a new outfit for every NBA city he went to, never packed clothes. Guy was just spending money at an alarming rate. He had two friends that really looked out for him, that saw him getting ready to go off this cliff at one point. He's like, dude, this is going to end up broke and homeless one day. And that's going to be the saddest story in the history of the NBA if we don't step up and do something for our friend who we care about.
Yep.
And they basically took his shoe deal money and made what they call the Reebok Fund, and they basically took $32 million away from AI without him knowing. By the way, that's AI's fault. He didn't know that they took $32 million. You gotta be able to identify $32 million missing
32
from your bank account.
Right.
That's how irresponsible his spending habits were, guys. He never saw it.
No, I
he
know.
never saw $32 million missing.
I will say this has happened multiple times though in the NBA.
Oh,
The guys
no
have
doubt.
got. I know Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett have both had money stolen from
Yes,
them too.
agreed.
But that's because you hire financial managers who then steal the money from you.
Yes, he didn't hire a financial manager.
No.
It was just AI burned through money. You're right about that. There are guys
Yes.
who are being swindled and hustled, and that's a damn shame too. VY actually had guys around him stealing money from him too.
Yep.
But I digress. But he had guys that really looking out for him, and they made a Reebok fund. They took $32 million from him, and when he got done with the NBA, and he thought he was broke. All right, and he was like, "Man, I got bankruptcy stuff. I'm in trouble here, guys." That's when they revealed to him, "Yeah, we stole $32 million from me. We got it in the bank account. You only get $1 million per year when you turn 55, so you can't irresponsibly spend it. But we got your back. Don't you got it? You good?"
Yep.
And he said he was forever grateful because they saw his irresponsible, childish behavior and said it won't last. He'll
Right.
grow up one day. When he grows up, he's gonna want that cash.
He's going to
He's
need
gonna
that
need
cash.
that cash.
That's right.
And I would hope that somebody in Ja Morant's circle is thinking along those lines, like, man, this could end up really bad for Ja. How do we have an intervention to stop this? How do we do what's best for our friend? And I don't think any of that conversation is happening with his social circle.
Well, the other
That's
part,
disappointing.
Well, the other part about it is too, it may not even be about the money. It's going to be about life and death.
Oh, I totally agree.
You know, that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
yeah.
Like Lorenzen Wright was Mr. Memphis. He was a great guy. I watched this special on him just the other night. That's why it's so fresh to me. But
I watched the Dateline like 2 months ago.
Right,
about him.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's this opportunity that was missed. Now, it obviously had to do with a woman and all this other stuff, but people don't care because they see your life and you acting like that's their only way of life.
Yes.
You have options.
You
have an out.
You're a fake tough guy.
Yes, these are real tough guys.
These are real gangsters.
Yeah.
And you want to be a gangster.
Yes.
And we can't figure out why, but in his mind, obviously, that being a gangster or being perceived as a thug, he thinks that's cool. So he wants to be cool. And I would caution him with, I'm sorry we brought up Pac like 4 times today, but it seems appropriate.
And it's his birthday.
Before Tupac started rapping, I tell the story all the time. Before he started rapping, because I love me some Tupac, my favorite all-time rapper, he never got arrested, never had any issues with police. before he actually started rapping. As Harsh mentioned, he was a theater and arts guy.
Yes.
He's trying to become an actor and a writer. And he started rapping, about, first of all, a lot of the stuff that he was seeing, stories that he was being told about the life. And he started rapping about thug life, got it tattooed, right? Across his body,
tatted on my chest.
Yeah, and by the way, he started being followed by real thugs.
Yeah.
Like real, legitimate thugs, gangsters, guys who lived that life and that was all they lived. And by the way, he started having guys who, on the other side, wanted to test his thug life and his commitment to the thug life. So once he started like speaking this into existence, he was getting tested by the gangsters and thugs on the other side.
And
he
paranoid the entire time.
Yes, and only being supported by the thugs and the gangsters that believed his rhetoric and stuff that he was saying. And then he found himself in the midst of death row with Suge Knight, who was a real gangster, with other gangsters, right? And then a target on his back with other gangsters going after him.
Yep.
And this is a guy, before he started rapping, never knew anything about the thug life and wanted nothing to do with it. But he spoke it into existence.
Yep.
And so I'm not saying that Pac was a fake gangster and a fake tough guy. He was able to kind of live these different lives, and that ability for him to kind of diversify his character allowed him to tell these stories that we still relate to this day. So it's a genius, trait to be able to have. But keep in mind, that's the warning, though, of Tupac's life.
Yeah.
Was that Tupac found himself in way too deep, and to the point where it overwhelmed him.
Yep.
He drowned in it.
That's
one of the greatest talents in the history of hip-hop. Gone way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And it took others with him.
Yeah.
Took Biggie out with him, too. It became bigger than both of them. So my point is, Ja Morant also has influence. He's got people following him. And I know right now it just seems like these are, kind of minor incidents, and I guess they're not minor anymore. And he's not hurting anybody. It's not a legal consequence to this right now. But just be careful.
Yeah.
Because just be careful, very careful about the perception that you want to project, because people might just believe it.
And they're going to try you.
As Pac, they start believing it. And then they believe it.
Try you.
And they want to try you. And then turns out Pac was so convincing, we all believed it. He wasn't actually a gangster. He wasn't. He wasn't a gangster. He wasn't a thug. It was the best character for him to play so that he could be accepted by all sides and respected on all sides, in his opinion.
Right.
If he had to do over it again today, he probably would tell you, nah, I'll take a different route. Because I prefer life.
Right.
I prefer to live. So just be careful.
Yeah, because that's what Ja's putting himself in a group of people that I've watched so many different interviews of true gangsters that have all talked about this Ja situation, and because they've been asked, they're like, "What would you tell Ja? Tell him to come and holla at me." And when they say holla at me, they ain't talking about just to have a sit down.
Mm-mm.
They're like, if you really want to be in this life, we can put you in it and see how you survive in this. Man, stay on that basketball court and keep doing what you're doing. If you want to do something good for your community.
Be a gangster on the court.
Yes.
The court gangster.
Yes.
That is awesome. Everybody would love that. You play like that anyway.
Exactly.
You play like a gangster on the court.
Reckless abandon out there. Yes.
Just be that guy. That's really cool. That's way cooler than this image you want to project out there. So, if I was him, if I was Ja, if I was on Ja's team, I'm talking about like his publicist and his public relations person, they need to focus on changing the narrative and reinventing his brand. And right now, he is known as a childish, irresponsible clown. And they need to change all of that. And the best way to start doing it is he got this reputation because he was handling a firearm like a toy. And we live in Texas, and people love their guns in Texas. God bless them all. And they have the right to. But most of the gun owners that I know and gun enthusiasts, and my family are full of gun enthusiasts, they are very responsible about how they handle firearms, especially in public. All right? And like I said, there are people around this country that are politicians who have campaign ads with guns, but they're usually shooting at a target, and they're usually handling it in a much more responsible fashion. He used to be on a gun range with Malika Andrews.
Yeah.
All right? And she used to be on that gun range with him, and he used to be and we to see him go through all the stages of responsible gun ownership.
Yep.
How to, how to load it, how to disassemble it, clean it, all that kind of stuff. And then everybody will say, oh, he used to be a member of NRA. I don't know if he is, but he used to be one anyway. Just for the hell of it. Now, some of y'all think that's a political thing. To hell with the political aspect of it. We're just talking about the perception of him being a responsible American gun owner and not a childish, immature clown, which is what he is now. So the first step, go on 60 Minutes or go on some Malika Andrews, and you need to be on a gun range, shooting on a gun range, showing people that you know how to handle a firearm, and tell them, you know what, my enthusiasm for firearms, like a lot of Americans can, they'll be able to relate to this, say, you know what, it just got a little, it got a little out of hand. I was a little too excited about my firearms and guns. I love them that much. And Americans go, you're damn right. I love guns just like Ja Morant loves guns.
I love Ja Morant.
You have a whole new fan base just because how much you love guns. All right, but you love them in a responsible manner.
Yep. You have to be responsible.
Not a reckless one.
Yep.
Come on.
I agree.
And this dude, I mean, his shoes sold out. The Ja 1, whatever it is, sold out in 20 minutes. That's how popular this guy is. And I can guarantee you, adults are not buying them damn shoes. I don't know one adult that would buy Ja 1 shoes. They're kids. They're the kids that Harge has in his house. They're the kids that are my cousins and nephews. Those are the ones that like Ja Morant, and they think he's cool. And if they think he's cool, they're going to think that operating brandishing a firearm in that reckless manner is also cool. So Ja, it's time. It's time, brother. It's time. I read the scripture in the 3 o'clock hour, and I don't read scripture on this show a lot, so don't be accusing me of getting too religious on the show. But it's apropos. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
Amen.
Ja, it's time to put away childish things, brother.
Yep.
Put them away.
Yep.
What the hell, man? Hire a bodyguard.
Life is too precious
Exactly.
to be playing around.
If you're worried about a threat to your life, I get that. That is a hard target. You got a target on you. I get that. I was in the NFL. The worst story I ever heard about the NFL, and why I understand why guys carry guns. I won't even say the player's name. He was walking in New York City. He had come out of a club. Dude walks up to him and has basically a Gatorade bottle full of gasoline, throws it on him, and then has a Zippo and lights the Zippo in front of him and says, I just need everything. I need the chain. I need the wallet. I need it all. You can deal with the consequences right here.
Yep.
So I get it, right?
Yep.
Those guys have targets on them, and Ja Morant's got a big target. You make enough money, you can hire security.
Security will always be with you,
You
bro.
can hire security.
Yep.
They can carry guns.
Yep.
They can be packed. They can be big and swole. You can tell them anybody that comes to me that
Or
I
they
don't,
can be little guys that just you unassuming.
whatever.
Yep.
Hire security.
Or you can just hang out with Steven Adams, who's on your team, and legitimately he's one of the scariest men.
Exactly.
Yes.
There was a story about him that they were telling the other day about when they didn't have a timeout and they needed one, so he started scratching his face so he could draw blood on his face, so they would have to break a play to get a timeout. And they were like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh no, we don't have a timeout, mate. I got bleeds, so we have a timeout."
Yep.
Yeah, hang out with that dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a wild story. He was
Apparently,
supposed to
there's more stories like that too.
scratch his face until it bled.
Yeah,
to
so
get a
that
timeout.
because there's a blood rule in NBA,
Yeah, the
so
Magic
they will
Johnson
stop
rule.
the clock.
It's the Magic Johnson rule,
So they'll
right?
stop the clock and you
Yeah.
can go over, and while he's getting, they can get a timeout.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, pay that guy a little extra. Give him a little.
That's the center on the Grizzlies. Just hang out with him.
And
Be
you know,
good.
that's another thing too, guys. The Grizzlies, attitude reflects leadership.
Yep.
They're a little clownish too.
Oh,
They're
the
a
whole
little
team.
immature.
But that's why
and
they're
childish.
moving on from Dylan Brooks.
That's why they got rid of Dylan Brooks.
Yes, and it plays because of Ja though.
Yeah, because he was
Because
part
he's
of it.
childish and immature. That's why your team's a little childish and immature.
But it's like Desmond Bane's not really that guy, and
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think that once you get rid of Dylan Brooks, and it's just gonna be Ja Morant, a bunch of guys like, hey man, let's go play basketball.
Yeah, and you know what? I would love to get a veteran. Who's the most veteran presence on the Memphis Grizzlies?
Steven Adams probably.
They need to go get.
That's what I'm saying. It's
They
not
need to
like
go get Jeff Green.
They need one of them. Yeah,
They
you know
need
what I'm talking about?
Jeff
Just an
Green.
old, just an
he
old
just won.
head.
He just won a
vet.
championship.
Just an old head. Yeah, exactly. Just a vet that. Honestly, I think I need somebody that Ja kind of respects though. I need somebody that can tell Ja exactly what it is, like the real deal.
I
All right,
prefer to
pull
go
no
the
punches.
other way. I prefer to go the other way. I need somebody that will slap him and not care.
But then
So
Ja,
you're talking about like Derrick Rose.
that's
Now Derrick Rose would be good.
If
That's
Ja-
a great one because
if
he's had that story.
If Ja doesn't respect him, then Ja just get him kicked off the team or get him traded or cut or something. You know what I mean?
No, that's why they're bringing him in though.
Huh?
That's why they would bring him in. He ain't gonna get him kicked off because they brought him in for that reason.
Well, my point is, if he is constantly at odds with Ja, it's not going to work. You still got to be somebody that can work with Ja.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I want that tough mentality, but it's got to be somebody that can tell him how it is and still, all right, Ja, now me and you go kick you a little bit. Let me, you know what I mean? I want Ja to respect the counsel that he's getting from whoever this person is.
Yeah. Steven Adams is the oldest guy on the team at 29.
I like the Derrick Rose thing.
But no 30-year-olds on that team. So.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about CP3. I know it's not going to work, but he just needs somebody. He needs somebody. Somebody said Josh shoes sold out because of the resale value. Resellers bought them out for resale. I'm pretty sure no kids were able to purchase. But you get my point. Like, I don't think adults, like older adults, are buying the Josh shoes. But either way, they sold out. And he is considered to be one of the faces of the NBA, and they need him. We talked about this probably months ago when we were discussing the MVP trophy. There are not a lot of American-born MVP candidates right now in the NBA. And he's one of the fewest, probably the top guy to be an American-born MVP. And right now it seems like a lot of the guys from overseas, a lot of guys, coming in the NBA now, and Wembanyama's going to be another one, by the way, they seem to be asserting their presence in the NBA, which is a great thing. Makes it an international sport, international league. But he was one of the American-born players that could have taken over the face of the league or the MVP mantle, and that's not going to happen for a while now.
Nope.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him. Okay, I wanted to get into some other NBA topics, so we'll table those. So if we can get to those a little bit, some of those in Raj Round the Day that we didn't get a chance to get into here. So some of that Nuggets trash talk, we'll table that for Raj Round the Day. I want to talk about MJ selling the team. We'll get into that coming up in next segment. And yes, I will give you a U.S. Open update and also tell you why and what is so interesting about the U.S. Open. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. If time is money, my friends at Apple Leasing are in the business of saving you both. They're going to save you time and save you money. Now, we all know that getting a brand new car, it's so rewarding. It's so satisfying, that brand new car smell. Everybody craves it. Everybody covets it. But nobody wants to put in the hard work to get that brand new car smell. Nobody wants to go price shopping, comparing different prices, going to different lots, going to different car dealers. Also, trying to figure out what car fits you and your family best. Could it be an SUV or a sedan? Then, of course, it's about the price, right? What price fits your budget best? What payment plan is most compatible with your family's budget? All those things can be really stressful, really time-consuming to try to figure out. And why even deal with that, right? Take the stress out of that process. Get yourself a brand new car without all the hassles, without all the headache. Just reach out to our friends over at Apple Leasing. 512-346-9977 or go to appleleasing.com and let my friends at Apple Leasing take care of all the hard work, all the hassles, all the headaches, and you just get to enjoy that brand new car smell. Somebody who knows about that is my man, Mike Hard.
Nothing is better than a brand new car smell. That's right. They clean it all up, whether it's the lease or whether if you want to lease for your company, that you can do that too. Apple Leasing is the way to go. They have all types of specials, and they can answer all the questions. A lot of times people don't really understand what leasing is. Give them a call, 512-346-9977, and they will walk you through the process. A lot of times, too, people like to say, well, I drive a lot. Don't worry about it. They can set up a package just for you. I've done it 3 times, and I think that you should be able to do it too. Reach out to those guys. Go to appleleasing.com. You don't even have to make a down payment, and sometimes you don't even have 0 payments for 90 days with their easy lease. Make sure you do it. You can get a quote today. Tell them the make. Tell them the model. Tell them the year that you want the car, and they will go and get it. I told you before, I walked into the showroom floor. I saw a Bentley. It was a little bit out of my price range, but I wanted to look at it. I probably took some pictures with it. I might be able to post them, but I didn't get that. I got something else, and they made it easy. Doesn't mean that you can't do it. You can get new. You can get pre-owned, and you can get any luxury vehicle you want. If you're starting a new job and you want to show off, make sure you go over to Apple Leasing. They can work with you. Go to appleleasing.com today, or like I said, give them a call, 346-9977, and they will walk you through the process. appleleasing.com.
All right, welcome back to Raj Rant of the Day, or Raj Rant of the Day on Ball Don't Lie. We'll get you a U.S. Open leaderboard update here in just a second, but I want to talk a little bit about the course that the U.S. Open is playing on. So it is the L.A. Country Club, the Los Angeles Country Club, and I heard E. Hogan talking about this a little bit earlier this week, and I want to do some deep diving into how exclusive this country club is. It's crazy how exclusive the Los Angeles Country Club is. Now, Harge, you're a golfer, so you golf a lot.
I do.
So you probably can appreciate this more than I can. But there are a lot of weird little facts that make this L.A. Country Club so unique and exclusive. And so exclusive, in fact, that they won't let celebrities in.
None.
Celebrities are not allowed to join.
Zero.
And basically, their policy of celebrities, they don't follow the rules. Celebrities make their own damn rules. Celebrities like, no. I can use my phone. This jabroni can't use their phone, but I'm a celebrity. I'm special. I'm important. My rules, not your rules. And so basically, no celebrities at all. $250,000 initiation fees.
Say it again.
Yeah, $250,000 initiation fees. You got to have a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And they don't even want your celebrity money.
No.
They don't want. They're in.
They know you temporary.
They're in the heart of Beverly Hills and don't want celebrity money. They want old money, but they don't want celebrity money. They also have no social media posts at all. That's why you don't see a lot of posts about them. They don't trend. They don't go viral. There are no social media posts. Period.
Yep.
In the club, within the club. Think about that these days. That's hard to do. How do you even? I don't even know how you can enforce that kind of stuff.
They ain't marketing to you.
It's 320 acres in the heart of L.A., of Los Angeles. Like 320 acres. Here are the rules, some of the rules. No shorts, tailored pants only. So you come in some pants that ain't tailored, get up out of here, man. You're looking too sloppy. Sports coats in the clubhouse at the 6. That kind of goes with most country clubs. No changing shoes in the parking lot. You must wear your nice shoes. We don't want you look too trashy changing our parking lot. Wear your shoes.
Change in the locker room.
Oh, you change in the locker room. There you go. But no change. Don't trashy stuff like that.
Because I'll just pull up in the parking lot and start changing right there.
Yeah. Say wear your stuff. Oh yeah, you go in the locker room and you can change. No headphones, no earbuds, or athletic clothes. So none of your athleisure.
Yeah,
don't wear your athleisure there. No, they want you to look good. No photos or videos of the club on social media at all.
Don't want nobody knowing.
It's like you would think that policy needs to change these days, but they don't care.
Nope.
They don't need to. They basically feel like they don't need to market and promote the brand or the club because they don't want your money. They don't want your regular money. Your money too Reggie for them. They want exceptional elite, all right, wealth. And most of y'all listening and most of us ain't it. Elon, if you're listening, you can do it. They want you.
Don't post though. Don't put it on Twitter.
Whoa, he hosted SNL. He's a celebrity.
You're right. Technically, he's a celebrity. You're right. Technically, you're right. They say, Elon, get the hell out of here, man. You're a celebrity. And that's what where do they draw the line? Because a lot of wealthy people now become celebrities whether they want to or not.
Right.
Like via social media and stuff.
But like if you do not appear on TV, if you do not there's plenty of CEOs and stuff who don't.
No, I agree, but people come like billionaires. Billionaires are all
but they don't
celebrities.
They don't. Well, not all billionaires.
No, not all of them, but a lot of them are.
There's a lot of billionaires who just control politics
they're not
from behind the scenes.
They're not celebrities to you, but I guess you the tech nerds. Tech nerds know all the tech billionaires.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
saying,
So you're a celebrity depending on what fandom wants to follow you and call you a celebrity. Nobody thinks Rob B is a celebrity that don't follow Texas Longhorn football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's all about what your definition of celebrity is. That's why I wonder where they draw the line.
Yeah, just old money.
So
like if your grandpa wasn't a billionaire, you're not allowed in.
Right? They love old money. They do. Okay, so the members can also only make phone calls from their parked car or a phone booth in the locker room. That's the rule.
Not even in the locker room, from a phone booth in the locker room.
There's a special phone booth in the locker room. Yes. Yeah. For instance, and the club is so exclusive that many of the world's best players who are playing at the U.S. Open, they're seeing it for the very first time in their lives because they haven't played on it. It's so exclusive, and because they don't post about it on social media. You don't see television shows about that kind of stuff. How about this? Rory McIlroy, for instance, hasn't paid for a round of golf in 20 years, but he had never played the Los Angeles Country Club before this week's U.S. Open. So he says he prepared by watching videos of the course on YouTube through special documentaries about it. And another crazy part is every member gets 1,000+ page rule book.
1,000+
pages. Yeah.
I don't even know if there's that many rule books in the rules of golf.
Like, how big is the print on these things? Like, if it's small print with 1,000 pages, you're not going to read that whole thing. It's like reading the service terms, the service agreement that you have with your phone or for Netflix. You don't read that crap.
Yep.
You just check the box and keep it moving.
You give it to the lawyers.
If you're right. If you can afford to get in this club, you definitely have lawyers on retainer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, true. You just hand it to them. Okay, how about this? So we talked about it being smack dab in the middle of Beverly Hills. And yet Nate brings this point too. It is so exclusive. In fact, they don't like celebrities, which means a guy like Hugh Hefner, who owned a house that, was on the golf course.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, it was actually but he could not be a member of the actual club.
Yeah.
But he cannot be a member of the club. That's how exclusive they are. Okay, so it's right smack dab in the middle of Beverly Hills between like Sunset Boulevard, Wilshire, and Santa Monica Boulevard. I'm sure you've heard about these streets. The land alone.
Go watch Beverly Hills Cop.
There you go. The land alone is worth $8 billion.
Yeah, that's very
Just
impressive.
the land by itself, nothing on it, bare bones land was worth $8 billion. It's the second most valuable piece of real estate not developed for housing behind Central Park in New York City. Let that sink in. It is the second most valuable piece of real estate in America that is not developed for housing behind Central Park.
Yeah, that's wild.
In New York City. Yeah, crazy, dude, crazy. And how about this? Because the rich get richer. And the key to being rich is not to evade taxes. You have to avoid them.
I was going to say, you find the loophole.
Evasion is illegal. Remember that. Avoidance is perfectly legal. All right? And they avoid taxes like nobody's business. And I'm sure they had some really wealthy people do this. So how about this? The $8 billion land assessment of value for them typically would mean they pay, hundreds of million dollars in property taxes, right? Of course they would. But they pay $220,000 annually in property taxes for an $8 billion piece of land. How? The Los Angeles Country Club is owned by its members and registered as a nonprofit. So they benefited when California voters passed a ballot in 1960. 1960, guys. That lowered the value at which officials were allowed to assess nonprofit golf courses. This nonprofit rule also applies to other LA-based golf clubs like Bel Air Country Club, Brentwood Country Club, and Wilshire Country Club. In 1978, voters passed Proposition 13. This new law rolled back the assessed land value to the 1975 level and more or less froze it in time at the 1975 value. Crazy. So even if the market value of the land tripled in value, the property's assessed value can only grow by 2% a year or the rate of inflation, whichever is lower. Essentially, the Proposition 13 capped property taxes at 1% of assessed value. And so in simple terms, the LA Country Club would be paying $80 million, 1%, in annual property taxes because its land is worth $8 billion plus. But because of those two laws I just mentioned, more than 45 years ago, LA Country Club's land is currently assessed at just $22 million, even though it's worth $8 billion. And they pay just $220,000 in property taxes. Damn, that's good.
Man,
I gotta find me somebody like that.
Yeah, you just gotta. Well,
Wait,
it helps.
whoa.
It helps when you have the money.
Friends.
Friends, whatever. I'll talk about anybody like that.
It helps to have enough money to control the government.
Yes, that also is true.
It helps.
That does. Just throwing it out there. That's crazy. Yeah, so anyway, now I'm going to give you more boring tax stuff.
That's exactly what I was glad to hear you talk about because I was like, I hope he goes here.
It's amazing.
I hope he goes here.
They are. Yeah, I don't even know how that's legal, but it is.
It is.
Find the loopholes, y'all. Find the loopholes.
Definitely legal.
Okay, real quick update on the U.S. Open. Right now, Ricky Fowler is at 10 under. Yes, actually, yeah. He is in the lead, tied for second. You had 9 under, Wyndham Clark and Xander Schauffele. Rory McIlroy is at 8 under.
Roy's doing well.
That's pretty good.
Roy's doing well.
Yeah, Roy's doing really well. Harris English is 5th at 7 under. Dustin Johnson, along with Min Woo Lee, is at 6 under. Cameron Smith at 4 under, along with Bryson DeChambeau. He tied with Si Woo Kim at 4 under. Oh, I forgot about Sam Bennett also thrown in there. He's at 5 under, so he's tied for 8. So that's basically your top 10 right there of the U.S. Open.
Love it.
Also, other big news. Speaking of straight cash, homie, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, gentlemen, The rich do get richer, in fact. And Michael Jordan, it's finalized the sale of the Hornets. Remember, he initially bought the Hornets in 2010. It says here $275 million for a majority stake in the Hornets franchise in 2010. That's what he paid. Now, or at least he has sold his stake in, or at least the most of his stake. I think he's going to keep probably a minority stake. He's agreed to sell his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets to a group led by Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnall for an approximately $3 billion valuation, according to league sources. The transaction ends Jordan's 13-year run as majority owner. Was he a good owner, guys? Can we let's go give him a let's grade him like a teacher would grade a child. Give me an A, B, C, D, or fail the GOAT.
He got an A in getting a team back in Charlotte.
Okay.
Everything else was an F.
F?
Everything else. Everything else.
Okay.
They were not. Punches. I mean, name the great draft pick they had.
No, I agree with you.
Name that big run they had. Name that player they developed.
Nothing. I got nothing for you.
That's what I'm saying.
I got nothing.
And if you're saying any of those Hornets, you're saying it about LJ and Alonzo Mourning and when he did not own this team, when he was in the league.
Yeah. He basically, because he almost, at first, and I think he backed off because he became almost a caricature. People were like mocking him. Mm-hmm. Remember how involved he was when he first bought him? He was basically using that as his personal fantasy team. Remember, he practiced one time with the team. Like against the team as one of the players.
Because he was mad at him.
He was like upset with him, and then like they were like had injuries.
Malik Monk was one of the guys that he was playing against.
Yeah, he went out there and played with his whole team. Also, Malik Monk, there was a time he slapped Malik Monk in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Like in front of everybody. It's like, MJ, that's not your teammate, man. You're the owner.
Yeah. Those things you can't do.
You can't do that, MJ.
Exactly.
But yeah, 0 finals appearances, 0 conference finals appearances, 0 semifinals appearances, 0 first round series wins. He drafted Kemba Walker. And that's it.
And that's all she wrote.
And Kemba Walker is one of those guys, like, he was really good, but we never really know how good he was because he was one of those guys that just played on a bad team, so his stats are super elevated because he was the only one shooting for most of it, and as soon as he went to another team, his career ended.
You're right.
Now, it was later in his career, but as soon as he left Charlotte, it was over.
Seems that way. I can't think of Kemba after that.
No, because he went to like 2 or 3 teams, and everyone was like, well, we need a three-point shooter. Like, well, he can't even really shoot.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah, I don't.
Because he's a creator. He likes to create shots.
I get it. I don't want to disparage him that much because he was a really good player, but it is, you just get guys that get elevated stats because you play on a team where you're taking, another third of the shots. You're like, all right, I should be taking a quarter of the shots in this because I'm the MVP. I'm a top level player. I'm gonna take another third of the team's shots because I don't think anybody else is better than me.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And I always thought, it's tough for players in any sport who are elite. I'm talking about elite, and they're elite because of their physical traits and physical gifts that they've been blessed with. I do think it's tough for those guys to transition to front office and coaching. And it can be done. I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, it's tougher because part of your job as a coach is to get the most out of a player and to do more with less. I find that coaches who weren't physical freaks and didn't become elite in their craft, they often are better coaches, are better administrators, and better front office minds because they don't have unrealistic expectations for their players. They're very realistic in what players can do and how they can contribute. MJ is not. MJ's like, you give me everything you got, all right? Or basically, you're banished. Like, I will excommunicate you from this team. That's how he operated. Remember, we talked about it on The Last Dance. Like, he demands the best out of his teammates, and I think it brought the best in him. That's a different situation, a different relationship than you as an owner trying to exert that same type of will and influence on your coaches and on your players. And MJ probably was harder on coaches and players than anybody else because, of course, he demanded greatness because he always got it on the court.
And that's the problem is when you're like, you're not playing your best. You're like, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
This is what you drafted. This is the best it gets.
Yeah, MJ's
Just
like,
because I'm not better, that's on you for your scouting department.
that's a great point. MJ's like, you know who MJ's really proud of? His son.
I was
He's
gonna
still
say,
dating
yeah.
Larsa Pippen.
It's making things really, really cool
Still
around
proud
the
of that
house.
young man.
Yes.
he is. All right, we come back. We'll get into some more NBA. Why does Michael Malone and the Denver Nuggets keep trash talking this particular team? And should Wemby go to Summer League? All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 Horn.
Mike Harge here, and I want to talk to you about the Lee Kitchen and Tavern. Father's Day is this weekend. We had that whole conversation about Father's Day. So, folks, make sure you take your father to one of the 4 Austin area locations, either Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Belterra, or Lakeway. It's Austin-owned and operated. Whether you want to do dine-in, pick-up, lunch, or dinner, the League has something for you. This weekend, take him out there and have him enjoy the June cocktail of the month, which is the Mai Tai. I know dads will get out there and start drinking that as well. You can also have the June entree features, whether it's the Hawaiian wings, pulled pork sliders, or the tuna wonton salad, or you can even enjoy the burger of the month, the Luau Burger. Either way, make sure you go to the Lee Kitchen and Tavern. You can go online and you can check out even more of the information where you can understand the menu and the monthly specials. TheLeeKitchen.com is chef-inspired comfort food with 4 Austin area locations, Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Belterra, and Lakeway. That's TheLeeKitchen.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, 512 Friday. That's when Patrick, the Idillionaire, plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings who you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Tear Jerk, and they're playing Saturday at Swan Dive.
Oh, I like that. Tear Jerk. Okay, let's get real quick to this Michael Malone sound. The Denver Nuggets busy celebrating their championship yesterday, had their parade. And Michael Malone's been making the rounds. He went on, recently was making around on the Pat McAfee show. We played the sound, or maybe we did play the sound of him after the game, after they won the championship, of him essentially calling his team a bunch of greedy bastards, so they're going to try to win more titles. He's been taking some. He's been talking like a confident man. Okay, some would say arrogant, confident man. And as the texter reminded us, he is from Queens, New York. Y'all might forget that. All right, he's from the boroughs, man. So he's got a little. He's got some swag to him. Well, he was on with Pat McAfee, and he took a shot at King James.
One of the things that I think everyone was kind of drawn to the Nuggets was when you were talking after the Lakers games in your press conferences, and obviously, people didn't really want to talk about you guys. People didn't really want to talk about what Jokic was doing. And Pat mentioned earlier, the prime time really wasn't built up for the Nuggets. And even after you swept the Lakers, there was different conversations, and that's neither here nor there. But they weren't talking about the Nuggets sweeping, LeBron and the Lakers. Do you think now that you guys have, put Denver on the map with the championship, being that first team since 1979 to win outside of Texas and California, do you think now people will, not only respect the Nuggets, but will look at the Denver Nuggets as that team? It. Yeah, like the team in the West now?
Hell yeah. Well, a really good question. And speaking of the Lakers, I just want you guys to know this is breaking news. I'm thinking about retiring, so don't tell anybody.
You love that, Coach. You love that. Coach, let's take the conversation away from the championship. Let's talk about the coach retiring. Yes. Hey, you hated it, huh? Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. You're a human.
Only kidding.
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere. I don't want the Kroenke family hearing that, trying to find a new coach. I'm not going anywhere. Having fun with my new friends over here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're lucky for that.
There you go. So if you didn't catch it, that's a shot at King James, who, after being swept by the Denver Nuggets, tried to distract us away from talking about the series by saying, I might just retire, y'all. And I believe we did appropriately mock King James for saying he would retire. You gonna go retire after getting swept? You'll never be in a conversation with Michael Jordan ever again, which is why he's not going to retire. But I'm glad Michael. Okay, is it possible? Because we have some. We have this Vic Lombardi sound too. Here's Vic Lombardi. He's kind of a Denver sports correspondent more than anything. But he's introducing Michael Malone at the parade, and here's the way he introduces Coach Malone.
He came into this world as the son of a coach, but in these playoffs, he became
a lot of trash talk toward the Lakers, gentlemen. Wise or unwise of these Denver Nuggets?
I'm going to say wise because the Lakers are old. What they going to do? I mean, they can't just – this ain't a young LeBron that can go out there. I mean, my man on load management. So, talk it now because he's on his last leg. This is the time to do it.
That's fair. That's a good point.
I'm not a Lakers fan. I hate the Lakers, but come on, man. You can't punch up. You made it to one finals. You won one finals, and you're like, you guys, we own you. You're like, they've owned you the entire length of your franchise. They have been a better franchise than you. And one time you win, you're like, we're the best. You can't do that.
That's what the Aggies are going to do.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is they are definitely trying to start a rivalry.
Yes.
Where there is not one.
Good point.
I get it. What they're trying to do is be like, Denver versus the Lakers. You're like, the problem is the Lakers probably aren't going to be there as much. You've got to find another team that's going to be your rival. But I know you want it to be the Lakers because then you get on TV more.
Yeah, you go.
But I'll tell you what, Lakers will have more primetime, more national television games than you next year. And I can write that down already, and that's you with you winning the NBA championship.
They want that Christmas matchup with the Lakers, don't they?
Yeah, they ain't getting it.
They ain't getting who?
No, because they want the Lakers to win on Christmas.
Yes, good point too. Yeah, you're right. No, but you know what? Smart on them. They want to start a rivalry with the Lakers, and I'm with you. It won't catch on, but good for them. This is the time to do it.
This is the person you're supposed to be going after.
And they're the best brand to pick on, and you're right, Hart. This is the right time to pick on them, too, because you can beat up on them a little bit.
Exactly. This is the whole one.
You got until the draft to enjoy this, and as soon as the draft happens, we're in the new year, and you guys got to calm it down a little.
We'll see, because Michael Malone seems hype.
No, I get it, but it's going to sound
Michael
dumber and
Malone
dumber the further you get away.
He ain't shutting it down. He believes in his team. He's got the best player in the NBA. He's got Jamal Murray that's coming up. Yes, he's going to lose some other guys, but he just talked about Bruce. Brucey ain't going nowhere. We running it back. Michael Porter Jr., too.
Yeah.
They're going to be better next year. Everybody's going to go through a little swoon. But, yeah, if you're going to talk it now. This is your time. You don't know how long your time is going to be.
Very true.
Enjoy it.
That's true. That's a good point. And it's the first time that their organization's won a championship. So they might be kind of just riding the high. We'll see if Patrick's right. Like, it'll calm down once they're out of the euphoria of winning the title. Because, yeah, it'll look silly if it's like deep in the offseason, they're still talking trash, taking shots at the Lakers.
I don't think they'll be like doing interviews either after that.
It's when he's on Busting the Boys and all that, and they're like, hey, man, we're just trying to get sound bites out of you now. It's not about you anymore. It's about us trying to get sound bites out of you. He may figure, and they may be like, hey, man, cool it.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
They're trying to make you look like an idiot now.
That's a good point, considering what his superstar is like, too, because the superstar is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
He want no part of talking trash or any stuff like that.
Although Joker's been partying the whole time. He was like, I'm so glad I stayed.
Yes,
I'm so
he did.
glad I'm saying.
He did say, I'm
and
glad I
they
stayed
went
for the
to
parade.
Vegas right after that. After the parade, they ended up in Vegas. There's video of them all in Vegas.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Enjoy it.
Damn right.
Turn up.
CB says LeBron responded to Malone on Instagram.
He vague booked on Instagram.
What'd he do?
He vague booked. We'll talk about it when we come back from the break.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll get to that on the other side. Right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Arch here, folks, for Quick Roofing. Texas weather has been crazy, from hail to high winds and heavy rains, and I know a lot of people are thinking about, should I get my roof checked? Absolutely. It's not going to hurt you, so do yourself a favor and go to quickroofing.com. The reason why Quick Roofing has been in business for over 39 years is because they have a great reputation of taking care of their customers and customer service. So here are some of the reasons why I think you should choose Quick Roofing. You get a free, no obligation inspection. You get Quick Roofing requires a project manager on every job site, ensuring that you, the customer, get everything that you were promised. Quick Roofing is fully insured and have all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. And with all of that, you get a 7-year workmanship warranty. So what are you waiting for? Reach out today and get that free inspection. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday. That's my man Patrick, the Idealionaire. He takes jams from local bands and artists who are very talented human beings who you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Kerry Hudson and Good Company. They are playing Saturday at Saxon Pub.
I know exactly what that is. All right, since Patrick is a lot cooler than Harj and I and knows about some of these new terms, new terminology that's being used on social media to describe some of the behavior on social media. So apparently LeBron James, shout out to my man CB, who hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776, and told us after we played the audio of Vic Lombardi and Michael Malone, the Denver Nuggets head coach, taking a little shot at King James and the Lakers, that King James did have a retort via social media, on the gram, as young people say, to Michael Malone. You had a term you used to describe exactly how LeBron used social media and how he retorted to those statements. What did you call it, Patrick?
Vague booking. It started on Facebook, but basically on Facebook, when someone posts something and they're like, you think you have real friends until somebody shows up and then you don't have no friends at all. And you're like, who are you talking about? Clearly it's somebody. Clearly something happened, but you won't post that, but you're going to post that. And so
you're not specific enough.
Yeah. For us onlookers, and you're vague booking because you want attention, but you don't want to give out specifics. And this seemed like that, where he's like, I hear you talking about me. And you're like, what was it, Michael Malone? Or are we all just supposed to guess? Is it somebody else? Why don't you just say, hey, guys, I get it. You beat us. Good series. We'll come back and play next year.
Yeah, because and we'll read the statement here. To Patrick's point, though, I guess they leave it vague so that if they're ever called out, they could always say, I never mentioned anybody specifically.
Yeah.
It's almost a coward's way of posting. It's like,
it is.
Ding.
Yeah. On Twitter, they call it subtweeting. Thank you, Texter. Yes. Well, yeah, man, come on. Be specific. I agree. You don't want to call anybody, but at least give us more context clues so that we can definitively know, he's responding to Michael Malone's trash talk.
Yeah. And
it's so very vague. To Patrick's point, here's how vague it is. He says, quote, this is his Instagram post. In Europe for the last past few weeks, minding my business, and I hear I'm on your mind. That much, huh? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I mean, I guess I see why. Emoji with shrugging shoulders. But wave the flag on these lames. Double exclamation mark. Please make being player cool again, because the lame machine is at an all-time high. Enjoy your light, but just know I'm the sun. I stay on forever. Exclamation point. Winking eyes emoji. Salute emoji. Praying hands emoji. King crown emoji. There's a lot of emojis out there. When you read it out loud, it sounds silly.
That was outstanding.
That was the best, Rod. Round of applause for Rod.
That was outstanding.
I was reading it
because you want people to understand that there are emojis involved.
There are. I mean, the emojis, that's part of what makes the statement.
You want to make sure that people know this is a grown man posting like he is a 13-year-old.
Pretty much, yes.
Let's get rid of these lames. Is that a phrase? Is that something?
No, I love it. Okay, now this is the best line. Please make being player cool again, because the lame machine is at an all-time high. The lame machine?
Come on.
Are you George Costanza with the jerk store? Jerk store is the line. He's talking to his wife. He's like, no, babe, lame machine is the line. Lame machine. Everybody's going to love it. It's awesome. Lame machine?
I feel like this is in his group text. They use these terms, and then he tried to throw them out and was like, oh, no.
I forgot I wasn't talking to my crew.
Wow. That's, yeah. And listen, I always say this about LeBron. He's the greatest unintentional villain in the history of sports. He's like the Forrest Gump of villainy. Like, he has no idea, he stumbles upon it. I don't think he knows that this post is just, it's a lame machine post.
Yeah. All you got to do is post a 2020 ring and go, yeah, we're even.
Oh, there you go.
Remember when I knocked you out of the playoffs and won a ring in 2020? Yeah. Remember that?
That's how you troll. That's how you troll.
We're even now. How about that? You're not one up on me. We're even.
You should take a troll class, and that would be lesson number one. It's like, no, dude, less is more when you're trolling.
Yeah,
less
all you gotta
is
do
more.
is post it and go, we're even.
These are way too many words to troll somebody.
Dude, I don't even know how to do emojis like that. I can tell you for a fact, if you were like winky eye me, I'd be like, this is going to take me half an hour. I'm going to have to consult somebody. I'm going to have to Google how to emoji everything. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I've never in my life needed to do it. I feel if I did that, someone would be like, well, Patrick's dead and someone's got his phone.
Patrick's been kidnapped. He's never used as many emojis. Look at that. There's 5 emojis in one text. Oh, man. He did a lot of emojis, though. A lot of emojis there for the king.
A lot of emojis.
All right. There you go. You know what? I like it, though. The NBA, I always say, they do have a very salacious element to the NBA. So even when it's not actual games going on, which Patrick hates, he wants actual basketball, we can still be entertained by stories like this because the NBA is full of these types of stories. And the NBA is a petty league, and I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of for it.
Yeah.
When golf got petty, we loved it. When women's basketball, college women's basketball got petty, we loved it. We like petty. We just don't want it to be the only reason that your product is interesting and entertaining. But if it's added as one of the ingredients, give it to us all day, every day. Petty. Be petty. So I think, it's good. It's one of the ingredients, but it's no doubt that the Denver Nuggets are trying to somehow, create some type of rivalry between the Lakers and the Nuggets. And who knows?
How mad are the Clippers right now? Like, we can't even be Lakers rival?
No.
We spent so much money.
You got somebody else to beat you to get to that point.
Oh, yeah, the Clippers. Yeah, that is. Yeah, but now the Sacramento Kings are coming up in that state. So the Clippers are even more irrelevant than they were before. Yeah, it's terrible. And they still got 2 stars, and they still can't stay relevant with the 2 stars because they
can't stay healthy.
They can't stay on the court.
Oh, they got 3. They got Westbrook.
Right.
But he's staying out the way.
No, that was not me laughing sarcastically. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's me forgetting. I forgot. Westbrook is considered one of those stars, too. Okay.
But he's staying out of the way, though.
Westbrook is?
Yeah. He's staying out of the way.
Honestly, he was out of the way of the Lakers. He wasn't forcing the issue with the Lakers.
No, I don't think so.
Wait. When he said, I can't play because my back hurts because I'm not used to sitting in the fourth quarter, that's not pushing the issue?
Well,
come on. This dude whined and moaned the entire time that he was not the star player on the Lakers, and then he went to the Clippers and loved it because no one else was there because they were all hurt. So he got to do everything again.
All right, he didn't whine as much.
And then he played with Bones Highland, who made him look like the greatest passer in the history of time because Bones Highland do not pass the ball, hence why the Nuggets traded him.
All right, that's fair. Okay, is it fair to say he wasn't whining as much? It wasn't.
I think it's fair to say he's a much better fit on the Clippers than the Lakers. He's just a better fit. The culture of it, everything. He was a much better fit there.
And that's probably why he's happier.
Yes.
Okay, can we get to this sound about Wembanyama? Okay, so Patrick, I want to ask you about this. So the report is that he's not going to play in the summer league, and you're not shocked or surprised by that?
No, I'd hope that he would end up there and be on the bench and be part of some of the meetings and be part of some of the practices and stuff like that. But I wouldn't expect him to play. I would have been really surprised if he played at all just because he just finished his French league, and you kind of want to give him a little bit of rest and a little bit of brain clarity before he jumps right back into a different league.
Yes, totally.
So I get that and especially when you see guys like Luka Doncic and you see how worn out he gets by the end of the year, that's going to be a problem for anyone when you go to a heavier schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So I get why you're like, hey man, let's not try and wear him out during summer league. Let's try and get him and acclimate him in smoothly. Let's not put him to where they're going to give him 20 million questions, and let's not let him have a game where he shoots poorly in a game and now he's the biggest bust
confidence
before game one.
Yep.
So I get all that. I would like to see him out there at a point though to just start working with the young guys and start kind of building that camaraderie with some of those younger guys.
I'm not shocked that he's not because I think they want to. The injury risk, even though injuries are not necessarily a part of his reputation or stigma just yet. With a big man though, that's always a conversation. It's like, hey man, how can we avoid any risk or lower the rate of injury or risk?
And I mean, in all reality, this is not a foregone conclusion that he won't play at all either. Because it could be that he is a type of guy that comes over and when the Spurs draft him, he says, I want to do this. Okay. I want to go play. And he could have that. I have no idea if that's the case or not. But, we've seen guys like that before. And in a league where it is very star-driven and you're in a small market, you don't want to start off your relationship by telling him no immediately. So you may go, yeah, we'll put you in, but we can't play a ton of minutes. We got to put you in the right places. So it could change. I'm sure there's levels of communication they can have now and then the changes once they draft him, where I'm sure there's some rules to it where they can't just be like, yeah, you're part of our you're in all of we've already got your locker.
Yeah.
You kind of got to fake it a little bit before the draft just because they don't want that happening.
It's the Spurs way. Kind of you earn it the whole way, the whole time. Speaking of
please.
Okay. What you got to say about it?
Wembanyama is going straight to San Antonio. Ain't no working it out. Ain't none of that other stuff. He's going straight there.
No, he is.
There's
After the
no
draft.
doubt.
After the draft.
He's going to be in San Antonio at the watch party. Talking about here we
be
go.
in Chicago.
Yeah, he'll make the
in
draft.
Chicago.
We going to be in Chicago.
The private plane for the Spurs
is already gassed
It will
up.
be there, gassed up, ready to go. He will go straight to the draft, flying to San Antonio.
His clothes will already be shipped to San Antonio. Don't get me wrong.
They probably
With
already
the
got. They
first
probably already
pick.
bought him a place in San Antonio. He's probably already looking at
Oh,
spots in San Antonio. If not, right? Yeah, I'm sure that's already happening. Or somebody for the Spurs is doing that for him already.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that'll be and so we have this sound. I think this is Jonathan Giovanni. If I'm not mistaken. Yes. Okay, so he claims. I want to get Patrick's thoughts about this. That Wembanyama, because Wembanyama, some people said he struggled a little bit. In the was the French league playoffs. They had like the playoffs for the French league that he's playing in, and some would say that he did not dominate in those playoffs in the postseason. I talked to Patrick about it actually, and you were like, man, he's being doubled and triple teamed, and they're doing their best to stop him
every second,
and he's got a target on his back, so everybody who thinks they're a star, they want some of Wemby.
Yeah,
so
you want to be in a highlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Guess who they're filming, and all the cameras are on every time. You want to be in a highlight, you do it at him. No, I get it.
It's a smart move. Yeah, you want the scouts looking at you, get around Wemby. Here is Jonathan Giovanni claiming that when Wemby comes to the NBA, it may not be as tough a transition. It actually may be an easier transition than the league that he's playing in now. Let's hear this.
Rookie. Jonathan, you know him as well, if not better, than anybody reporting in America. What do you think? Is that realistic for him?
I couldn't agree more with Perk. The NBA is going to be easier for him than it is right now in France. People that are watching this game that's going on today, they are holding him, they're grabbing him. Every time he crosses the lane, bam, they're smacking him. And referees in the NBA don't allow the level of physicality that they allow in Europe. The spacing is going to be so much better. He's going to be stepping into wide open threes. He's not going to be getting double and triple teamed the way he has all season long. So I think the adversity that he's been facing this year, the contact that he's dealing with, from grown men that every game want to just go at his throat, it's going to really benefit him next season in San Antonio.
Now, you guys watch a lot of NBA. Agree or disagree with that assessment? That it'll be easier for Wemby in the NBA as opposed to that French league he's playing in now, or the European leagues that he's played in.
I've heard that numerous times from multiple people. It's easier to play in the NBA because the rules are so different. And the physicality, they play physical brand of basketball. That's why when Luka Doncic comes over, he's playing over in that league at 15 years old. He's a pro over there, and then he comes into the NBA and he takes it by storm. That's because he's been playing against grown men since he was 15 years old. And the people in the NBA don't exert themselves. We're talking about load management in the NBA.
Oh yeah,
over there you playing because that's what you got to do.
Yeah, you're right. You play to put food on the table.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's points of it that are true. That you go, yeah, it will be less physical when he's on the perimeter. When he gets in the post, it'll be just as fit. There'll be a lot more physicality because people will know that's a way to defend him.
Oh yeah,
and especially if he'll be taller than everybody. And in the NBA, if a 6'8" guy guards a 7'5" guy, they're gonna let you get away with a lot, and that's just how they call the game normally. So I think there is going to be points where there are points that he made that were correct. And then it's also, he's also playing against defensively. It's a gigantic step for him to try and guard guys in the NBA. The coaching level in the NBA is light years ahead of the league he was in. So the game planning and, the conditioning and everything else is at another level than what he was playing in. So that's another step that's going to be harder for him to adjust to. There's going to be a lot of steps where he's going to have to make the adjustments to, okay, this is how he played in the league. He's now playing with the best player he's ever played with in his teammates. So sharing the ball correctly, having guys where, knowing where your guys are going to be and who can hit threes and scouting reports on everybody is a lot different than when you're playing in a league where you can pretty much dominate them because you're the best player in the league.
Yeah.
And then they triple team you, and they every single time you basically have a guy on you. You have a guy standing by the rim to make sure if you get away from the first, and then you have another guy that's coming off of the defender near you to help out. It makes it really hard. I get double and triple teams. I get why he was struggling at the point, and he was getting beat up anytime he tried to go into the paint. They were bumping him a ton. But that's also going to happen in the NBA. If you get to that level of dominating. Now, can you get to the level that Jokic got to, where it didn't matter?
Yeah, you're that good. Yeah.
Or do you get? But that takes time. I mean, how many years did it take Jokic to get to? Now we went to
Giannis,
MVPs, and we can talk about Luka Doncic. Man, he dominates. They didn't make the playoffs, so there's a level of dominating, and then there's winning. And they are two different things at different points in time.
And Jokic is doing both. Jokic just did both.
Yes, Jokic did both.
Dominated and won. Yeah.
So that's where I say there's a lot of steps to what Wemby has to get through to go to where he wants to be and where the Spurs want him to be and where the league wants him to be. I think there was some good points, but I think that was also a very one-sided take of the league I watch is better. I think that was he kind of pointed out all the negative things about the NBA and none of the positives. Of like, no, you're going to be playing, like, you're going to have to run the court faster than you've ever had to run the court. You're going to have, there's just going to be a lot of other challenges.
Yes.
So if you look at it as, this will be easier, it's the wrong way to look at it as opposed to these are the challenges that you have to overcome.
Yeah, it's like one aspect may be a easier transition, doesn't make it easier.
Yes.
But it's going to be tough no matter what just because you're playing at the highest levels.
And the minute you think, hey, man, we're not going to get bumped around, but you're going to get. Like, look at any NBA center's body after a game.
Oh, you'll be baptized in the NBA.
I mean, they're cutting you. They're trying to pinch you. They're trying to do whatever they can to get in your brain.
Yeah, you're a skinny dude. You're going to elbow in the small of the back. That's going to hit you. We're going to be. Yeah, I mean, that's just.
Why'd you go to the back, Joe?
Exactly. Well, I know I said hurt. You get anybody that's small in the back, like, oh man.
Yeah.
For a big dude like that, you elbow right there in the kidneys, just right there.
Keep hitting them.
Exactly.
Keep hitting them.
All right. So, you know what? I got a question for you guys. You know what I'm asking now, and then we can carry over the conversation to next segment. I want to get back to the C.J. Stroud-Dak comparison, and we can table that for next segment. Here's the question, because we were just talking about the NBA and how the Denver Nuggets, they won their first championship as a franchise, in 46 years or whatever it was.
47.
In the last 10 years, we've seen the NBA have 3 first-time champions. You've seen the Cavs and the Raptors, Nuggets, really cool. The NHL's had 3 first-time champions in the last 10 years. Capitals, Blues, Knights, really cool. Major League Baseball, 2. Astros, Goose, Nationals, really cool. NFL's had 2. You had the Seahawks and the Eagles. All right, that's pretty cool. And college baseball, you had Virginia and Baylor. Even college baseball getting into that, too. College football's had 0 in the last 10 years, first-time champions. Here's my question, because I'm trying to think about it. Like, man, who is going to break that streak in college football? Who's going to be the next first-time champion? Here's the question. What program is it? What program becomes a first-time champion in college football? Who is it? Who's the next first-time champion in college football? Or do we just continue to go on where the Blue Bloods just run this whole damn thing? Georgia's, Bama's, Texas, Ohio State's, just Florida's, keep doing what they're doing. USC over and over again. We keep reliving that. But it is nice to have some fresh blood. Who is most likely to be that new fresh blood to get their first title in college football?
I will say TCU does not have one, right?
Yeah.
So they were in the game last year. They were a game away from it last year.
Yeah,
right?
I gotta go look at their see if they had one way back in the day.
But yeah,
40s
so
or
that was
something.
there was a game. There was a team in the game last year.
Yeah.
So there is.
It's you're right. Still, there's hope.
So there's hope.
There's hope.
But they also got destroyed in that game.
They got mollywopped in that. So were they close?
They were technically
they
a
were
game
closer
away.
than most people ever thought they were going to be.
It's true.
So I don't know. That's a really good question though.
That's kind of the question I want to put out there for folks. Oh, shit, they claim national titles.
That's the other part.
They claim national titles in 1935 and 1938.
That's the other problem is college football goes back so
And
far.
yeah,
and they just made up. And so, like, everyone has a
Everybody
title.
made up a title for themselves.
Because they were like,
title.
hey, we went undefeated. Like, who did you play? And they were like, oh, we just played scrimmages the whole year. But we won them all, so.
That's a good point. No, they just gave themselves titles back. They did.
Yeah.
A ton of that happened. And you're right. So TCU, they would have claimed 35 and 38.
Who do you think it is? You said you said you have somebody.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to, because first of all, you got to do the research on who doesn't have a title anywhere, and that's tough too. And it, like Patrick says, hell, man, you go back to the 30s and the 40s. You have multiple teams in multiple conferences just giving themselves championships. Like, we won. It's like, how do you just give yourself a title? Exactly.
That's the Aggies. They got them on the wall.
Obviously there's that conversation. But if I had to throw some schools out there that I think had a shot, you know what, right now, for me, Oregon seems to be a school that keeps coming up. I know they're in the Pac-12. I get it. But Oregon's got a sugar daddy. right? They got a mystique. They got a brand you can recruit to. No, but there's no talent in Oregon. People are they're recruiting people from Texas, from California, from Florida to that brand. Now, they got to go to the Big Ten first, I do believe. I just don't think there'll be enough respect for any Pac-12 team other than USC coming out of there that'll, get enough street cred to win a title and get in the college football playoff. Maybe the expanded playoff, they'll get there and they can make a run. But it's an interesting question. Like, who is the team you think is going to be the next team in college football to be a first-time national champion? Someone said undefeated 2017 Central Florida. They claimed one. They were like, yeah, we won it.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I'm probably gonna go down a rabbit hole about it maybe this weekend. But I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and they actually brought up an interesting point. They said North Carolina in football would be one of theirs because you got Michael Jordan and you got the Jordan brand. North Carolina's even in basketball, we help support the football. Mack Brown's there. Mack Brown's a big reason why North Carolina football is now not on the map, but they're competitive. They're gonna have a first round quarterback, and we know they've always had a ton of talent at North Carolina. Mack Brown can recruit his tail off. That may be one to throw out there too.
Yeah, I like that.
Interesting.
I like that one. It's. I think, too, to be fair in this question, if you go rabbit hole, you got to put it like a date to call off.
You do.
Like 1950 or something like that, where you go, look, before this, or it's just AP titles or something like that.
Good point.
Because there's so many made-up titles in there.
It is.
Like TCU to go, 1934. We're like, no, you weren't. You weren't. How many didn't KD used to have the record of?
He did.
So there's
KD kept up with. KD probably could answer this question for us.
He probably could. But I'm saying,
I think he might have texted us already.
But if you go 1934, you'd be like, well, there was 14 national championships in 1934.
That's true.
So you go, are they even real? Which one's the real
Aggies
one?
The Aggies claimed one from the 40s or something.
Yeah.
I'm like the 50s. Around the 50s is cutoff time.
We should make a modern era, like basically like 55 and up, or 60, and that's the cutoff. And if you ain't won one since then that's the modern era. We'll have some fun. I'll do some research, and then next week we'll bring this back up again. But just food for thought, throw it out there. Because I guess if that's the case, then we can put the Aggies in there.
Yeah.
If we put it at 50 or 55, because the Aggie stuff was in 40. I love my man, softball Ricky used to always say, Ricky Bredis, who obviously take care of Bevo, he used to always say, the Aggies, the last time they won a national championship, people thought Hitler was still a good guy. It's a great line. That is true. He won he was Time Magazine Man of the Year around that time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aggies. It's going to be good to bring back the Maggie
It was
jokes.
a minute.
It's been a long time.
It was a minute.
Okay. So we've got an Aggie joke on the text line already. It didn't even take long. All right, we come back. We will give this a baseball conversation. We'll revisit that C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott comparison. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite beer. It is Bud Light, and it is the weekend. And you know what the weekend is all about? The weekend's all about having a good time, and there's no better way to keep the good times going and to make sure you got the Bud Light flowing. And that's why I love Bud Light, and you should too. It is my go-to beer for my Longhorn tailgates on Saturdays, also my NFL Sundays, but also my go-to beer for any weekend activities. And this weekend, you can damn sure believe I'm going to be breaking out the Bud Light, because Bud Light, trust me, folks, it turns good times into great times, and the rest of the times always become the best of times. And that's why Bud Light is my choice. It is the world's choice and the world's favorite light beer. So remember, folks, to get your weekend started the right way, whether you're headed to happy hour or whether you're heading home, stop by your local grocery store, convenience store, pick up a nice ice-cold case of Bud Light to sure sound of a good time. Maybe you're going out with friends and family tonight. Make sure when you're enjoying that nightlife, you do it with a Bud Light, folks, because Bud Light makes everything that much better. My choice should be yours, too. Bud Light, brewed deep in the heart of Texas, and proud of it. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when the Idillionaire Patrick Davis takes jams from very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is the Reverend Few, and they are playing Saturday at Skylark Lounge.
Oh, yeah. You can always look cool in front of all your friends if you listen to 512 Friday, and then Patrick will give you all of the great bands, all the great locations, and then you can sound like you know what you're talking about. When your friends are like, I want something to do tonight. It's boring. We should go out. And you be like, I know exactly where to go. We can go see this really cool up-and-coming band called whatever, and they'll be playing it here, and they'll be like, man, that guy's really cool. And all your friends start texting you and asking you where are the best spots to go, and then you won't even feel stupid because all you got to do is listen to 512 Friday, and you can give them all the spots to go every week. There you go.
I think you just named another band, too. We're going to see whatever at South by Southwest 2024.
You're right.
What's your band name? Whatever.
We probably could do a guess that band name and see if it's
real
fact
or fake.
Fiction. Yeah, fact or fiction band
any
name.
South by. Any South by. You
right?
can
We
do
can
that,
do that. You probably have a good time. I think me and Craig used to play that back in the day. Okay, about our question that we threw out there, what college football program is most likely to be the next first-time college football national champion for their program, because it hasn't happened in a long time, definitely not in the last 10 years, seeing a lot of the same old blue bloods that are recycled champions over and over again. Because we saw it in NBA, Denver Nuggets, first time they won an NBA championship. Took them 47 years to do it. So some of the teams that you guys on the Specs text line came up with, multiple texters said Baylor. And the reason I don't think that's crazy is because Baylor has been able to reinvent themselves successfully within their football program after scandals multiple times. And that's tough to do.
Yeah, it is.
That's really tough to do.
Yeah, it is.
And their athletic department's been able to survive that. And they hire good coaches. Now, I'm not saying they're good people, but they've hired good coaches who have been good football coaches. So I can see them having a hell of a year every now and then. And they put a lot of money behind their program. Also, my man Patrick brought up K-State. I like that one too. K-State every now and then, they got enough talent to make a run, and that's one of the steadiest college football programs in the country. I also think Chris Kleiman's a hell of a coach. They always hire well too.
And I like what you brought up in there, the expanded playoff. That's one where it's like, hey man, all you got to do is get in the door when they expand it out, and then maybe you get that run.
It's about matchups after that.
And maybe
match
you
up
get
well.
that run.
Yeah, man. No, the playoffs going to make things really interesting. The playoffs actually may change this conversation we're having right now.
It definitely will change the conversation because there's going to be more people that are involved that never would have had the opportunity to win it.
Even the guys from the Group of Five.
Exactly.
The G5 people.
The G5 people are going to have a chance.
Patrick brought up Wisconsin. Also, another good college football program that I think could be in that conversation as well as the next first-time champion. Texter also brings up Utah here. Another texter, Putz, number 13, brought up Oregon. And I like that, actually, because I love that Oregon pick, too. I said Oregon as well. So, anyway, that's just a rabbit hole conversation. We'll come back to that a little bit later on. All right.
Don't forget South Carolina either.
Yes, South Carolina. You brought up South Carolina, Horace. This is another good one, too, that could end up. I brought up North Carolina, too.
Yeah.
All the Carolinas.
The Carolinas, they haven't done anything. Somebody just said Utah as well.
Utah's a good one because
I think the closest that they were with Urban Meyer and Alex Smith.
And I believe that team, remember that, man, who did they beat in the bowl game? Was it?
They beat them bad, too. I think it was Florida, actually.
It was Florida.
I think it was Florida.
No, it was Florida.
Yeah.
You're right, because he ended up going to Florida.
Because he ended up going to Florida.
Yeah, you're right. It was Urban Meyer. You're right. It's a good point. Okay, just real quick, because I know we're up against it. I just want to mention this story about C.J. Stroud being compared to Dak Prescott. So Noah Brown was with the Cowboys, now with the Texans as a wide receiver. And he reportedly sees comparisons between C.J. Stroud and Dak Prescott, his former quarterback. I believe these are not physical comparisons. I believe he's talking about the intrinsic, immeasurables. I think he's talking about things that are really tough to quantify. And I've said this about
work ethic.
Yes.
Yep.
I've said this about Dak tons of times, that his elite quality, I always say your quarterback needs an X-man ability, something they do as well, if not better than everybody else. What separates them? What separates Dak, I truly believe, is the intangibles, his leadership skill. Being a natural leader doesn't come natural to everybody, and quarterback is a natural leadership position. Look at Quinn Ewers. He wasn't a natural leader, but you are thrust into that position to be a vocal leader as a quarterback. I think Dak, it comes really natural to him. I remember I love the video when he was, I don't know if he was a rookie, it was like his second or third year, where he drinks Gatorade, some Gatorade from a Gatorade cup, one of those little the plastic cups or whatever. He balls it up, throws it toward the garbage can, and he misses. Middle of the game, and he sees that he misses, and instead of just leaving it there and going back talking to his coach, make adjustments, whatever, talking to his teammates, he goes in the middle of the game, picks up the paper cup that was on the ground, throws it in the trash. And some people are like, that doesn't mean a damn thing. Actually, it does. Remember my man Richard Hightower saying that Rojo did the same thing in a special teams meeting when he first got to the Chicago Bears?
Yep.
They had a special teams meeting. Everybody leaves the room, but everybody leaves their water bottles and their, trash everywhere because they're just going to the next meeting. Can't be late. I don't give a damn about who's cleaning this up. I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff. And Rojo stayed behind, picked up all the trash, threw it into the trash, and Richard Hightower says he's just a guy. He believes things need to be done a certain way. And the way that he believes things should be done is the right way. That's it. Things need to be done a certain way, and they need to be done the right way. That's Rojo's one of those guys. Dak's one of those guys.
And I'm not mad at it.
I want those guys leading my team.
Yes, that's how they should be.
So I don't know if Dak has an elite skill or trait physically. I don't even think he does. That he does better than every other quarterback in the league. Big arm, mobility, accuracy, all that. But I know leadership is half the damn job. And Dak is one of the great leaders in the NFL. And multiple people have said that. This is not a one person making that comparison. Multiple players have said that about Dak when they've talked about him. So I'm happy if C.J. Stroud's getting that kind of comparison. That makes me feel good.
I mean, especially if you are a Texans fan. I know everybody got jokes and they want to be talking about Dak and his interceptions. I don't know if that's a good thing. If you don't have good leadership because the people that you thought were leading your team in the right way, you got rid of them. And that's Deshaun Watson. You looked at what happened with DeAndre Hopkins. For some reason, they didn't like the way D-Hop was running the program. Now you have somebody that is truly built different than others and trying to get people to fall in love with your team again. You need a quarterback that is stable, that is going to lead, that is going to put your team in the right direction. You need a guy like Dak Prescott, a.k.a. C.J. Stroud.
I'm with you. I'm actually happy about that comparison. Some people are like, that's a silly comparison. I'm like, I don't think it's physical. I think he's talking about the immeasurables.
Hey, and when you talk about one thing the Texans sorely lack for many years now, it is culture, it is leadership.
Yep.
You had DeMeco Ryans, who is a great track record of it, and now C.J. Stroud. You are fixing a major, major problem that this franchise has had for many years.
And to add to that point, Patrick, Will Anderson also is in that vein because people, they have glowing compliments and raving about how much of a leader he is and how mature he is. And he was from being a Saban guy, he was one of the guys that went above and beyond and learned really how that Saban culture was proliferating. He's going to try to bring some of that. And by the way, they like a Saban culture. They like that Alabama culture there. They got a lot of Alabama guys, including DeMeco Ryans, by the way. All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up, put it in the oven. There is a special birthday that I did not bring up that must be addressed. We'll discuss it before we get out of here, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Real quick while we got some time, shout out to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day this weekend. Please enjoy it.
Yep, yes.
Also, happy birthday to Tupac, the late, great Tupac. And also, another birthday today, A.C. Cowlings, for those who don't remember, the man who drove the white Bronco for O.J. Simpson.
You know who I am?
Celebrating his birthday. You know who I am.
I'm AC.
76 years old. This is the lesson I learned from A.C. Cowlings. Guys, in your life, ask yourself this one question. Who in your life will drive the white Bronco for you, no questions asked? And when you find that person, don't ever let them out of your life. Hopefully, you marry that person. My wife is not that person.
I was going to say,
she would snitch on me in a second.
solo dolo.
I would be driving my own white Bronco. My wife be like, he crazy. He on the way.
As a matter of fact, I didn't already put a tracker in there. I know where he at. Go get him.
All right, what's on tap for you, Hart?
Hey, man, I'm going to dinner. I got a good weekend. We got basketball in town, so we're going to be chilling. And Father's Day on Friday.
Ooh, happy Father's Day, Hart. Happy Father's Day, brother. You deserve it. Patrick, you going on vacation, brother?
Hey, man, I hope you'll have fun next week because I know I will.
Enjoy
man.
yourself,
You really deserve it, brother. You deserve it. We're going to miss you.
sure.
We also going to miss you all over the weekend, but please enjoy yourselves and have a great Father's Day weekend. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.